will be rescheduled tomorrow. Watch for Dallas prior to hockey in the East and following the game in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Dallas will be seen tonight at the usual times in Alberta, NBC.
The following is a CBC Sports presentation.
The Colisée in Quebec City. This was the scene late in the third period in the opening game Wednesday night.
Poulin going in with him. Mario Lemieux. Just
A winning goal scored by Philadelphia's Dave Poulin added to the team for his defensive ability.
When you play against a top offensive line and you do create turnovers, you're going to get offensive chances. And we knew that, and both Dale and myself, as well as Kevin, were well aware that we may have good chances to score, and if we did, we had to capitalize and could really turn the game around.
The game featured some spectacular goaltending by Edmonton's Grant Fuhr. He was confident prior to the opener Wednesday, and it is no different tonight.
We got a lot of talent, a lot of heart in this room, and I think we should win tonight.
One of the pleasant surprises for the NHL, the strong play on defense. Many considered it suspect with the injuries to Howe and Coffey. Washington's Rod Langway and Montreal's Rick Green were dominant, and their continued dominance of the blue line is definitely needed this evening.
Well, I think that with the offensive ability of those the Russians, they can score goals, and I think we have to respect that. I think that it's critical for us to leave the shots from the slot area and keep everything to the outside so that the goalie can see it and then clear the rebound. And I think that if we can do that, then we should be pleased.
The game's most valuable player, Edmonton's Mark Messier. For him tonight is quite simply a dream come true.
Well, I think everybody here relishes it. I think it's a nice opportunity to be here amongst some pretty good hockey players that weren't selected, and to be selected here is a very nice honor, and we're going out there and giving it our best.
So tonight, it's the final showdown here at Rendezvous 87 in Quebec City. Rendezvous 87. Brought to you by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of Miller Lite. Chrysler Canada, who bring you the all-new Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. By Esso, stop in and fill up with the no-trouble gasoline. By your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Catch the wave, Coke. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to Le Colisée here in Quebec City. This is it, the showdown. Now, on Wednesday night, the National Hockey League won by playing smart-controlled hockey. The credit for that has to go to the coaching staff, Montreal's Jean Perrin, Calgary's Bob Johnson, and, of course, Michel Bergeron from right here in Quebec City. I will be talking with Jean Perrin in just a few minutes. The Soviets, well, they were stunned to say the least. They had a long, hard practice yesterday that at times was downright nasty. There was slashing, there was hacking. Coach Victor Tikhonov was yelling. And word here tonight is that if Tikhonov doesn't win this game, his job is very much on the line. He could be replaced by a former great Soviet player, Boris Mikhailov. Right now, let's introduce you to our play-by-play crew for tonight's second and final game. Here are Don Whitman and John Davidson.
Brian, there seems to be a general feeling, even among the players, John Davidson, that the Soviets will come out flying tonight.
I think, Don, what you'll see them do, or what they tried to work on in practice yesterday, was to go to the net. They felt that they didn't play that bad in that loss to the National Hockey League, but they did not finish. So their practice yesterday was just all they wanted was for them to go around the net, find those rebounds, get there quickly, and try and finish as much as possible. They also worked a little bit on that power play, which was 0 for 4 in Game 1. The National Hockey League themselves, Don, felt that their work along the boards and forechecking was good. They want to come out and bang early. I think you'll see it.
Team NHL in Game 1 did such a good job of controlling the zones.
Well, their defense and their forwards played as a unit, which was very, very important. Their defense played defense, and I think that was the biggest key. They made good, smart decisions, either simple little passes or chip the puck out.
Team NHL did an excellent job in Game 1, winning by a score of 4-3. And now standing by with the head coach, Jean Perrant, here's Brian Williams.
All right, thank you, Don Whitman. Coach Jean Perrant, prior to the game Wednesday night, you told me if you would get through the first period with a scoreless tie, you'd be happy. Do you have the same feeling heading into this final game tonight?
Yes, I do. I feel the Russians will come out a little bit more aggressively, using more short passes to take our defensemen off guard. And if we can react very well away from the puck and move up the puck quick, I think we have the defensemen who can feed our forwards very, very well. And using short shifts like we did on Wednesday night, we'll be in the driver's seat after the first.
All right, I know you have to get out very quickly. You've studied the videotapes. What were your last-minute instructions to the team?
Pride, intensity, discipline. Even if we have an NHL referee, it's going to be very, very important, and making sure that we react very, very well defensively.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Everything is in readiness at Le Colisée, and we will return with the player introductions right after this.
Hi, I see you're back. And this is mine.
Obviously.
You getting settled in for another fascinating night of videos? Yeah, well, I've seen it all. Oh, Coke. Good taste. This is cozy. You watching me watching you. What's he watching? Because I'm talking irresistible. I'm talking smooth. Then I'm talking the best tasting cola. Coke! Obviously. Catch the wave. Coke.
Of all the movies you can see this year, only one has been acclaimed by every single critic. Vincent Canby of the New York Times calls it a singular achievement, exceptionally moving. A great movie, 2 big thumbs up, say Siskel and Ebert. Mike Clark of USA Today gives it 4 stars as the year's most powerful film. See the one David Denby of New York Magazine calls a great American movie, Platoon.
Nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, now playing at a theater near you.
She had a perfect home, a perfect marriage, a perfect life. Then the phone rang.
Sorry, Edna, but I thought you ought to know.
Dancing in the Dark. Best on the Box, Sunday.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Quebec City for the second game of Rendezvous 87 between the players of the Soviet national team and the National Hockey League All-Star team. Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, Son Excellence, le gouverneur général du Canada, la très honorable Jeanne Sauvé et l'honorable Maurice Sauvé. Her Excellency, the Governor General of Canada, the Right Honorable Jean Sauvé and the Honorable Maurice Sauvé. Here now is the starting lineup for the USSR national team. Playing in goal, wearing number 20, Evgeny Belochaikin. À la défense, le numéro 2 et capitaine, Vyacheslav Fetisov. Le numéro 7, toujours à la défense, Alexis Kazakova. At center, wearing number 11, Igor Larionov. At left wing, wearing number 24, Sergei Makarov. At right wing, wearing number 9, Vladimir Krutov. Et voici maintenant les joueurs de l'Union soviétique. pour l'équipe de la Ligue nationale de hockey, devant le filet, le numéro 31, Greg Fuhr. On the bench, wearing number 4, Rod Langway. Also on the bench, wearing number 5, Rick Green. Au centre, le numéro 10, Dave Howard-Chuck. À l'aile gauche, le numéro 20, Dave Poulin. À l'aile droite, le numéro 14, Kevin Denny. And now, please welcome the rest of the National Hockey League All-Star team. Rendezvous 87 is a gathering of the three great nations represented throughout this wonderful week and their top athletes and artists. Durant toute la semaine qui s'achève, Rendez-vous 87 s'est voulu le rassemblement des artistes et des athlètes représentant 3 des plus grandes nations de l'univers. Mesdames et messieurs, voulez-vous vous lever pour vous joindre à M. Guy Lavoie, qui interprétera l'hymne national du RSS. Io And now, Mr. Guy Belanger will sing the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem of the United States of America. Pour chanter au Canada, accueillons Mme Ginette Renaud. For the last 15 years, international hockey has become an integral part of our national game. Depuis 15 ans, le hockey international a fourni aux amateurs quelques-uns des plus beaux moments de l'histoire de notre sport national. Qu'on pense à la série du siècle de 1972, la Coupe Canada de 1976 et la Coupe du défi de 1979. Qu'on pense aussi à la victoire surprise de l'équipe olympique des États-Unis à Lake Placid en 1980. To commemorate some of the most important moments in the history of international competition, let's greet three players representing Canada, the United States, and the Soviet Union who played key roles in those competitions. Vladislav Tretiak, the hero of the 1972 Super Series. Mike Eruzione, captain of the 1980 U.S. Olympic gold medal winning team. And Guy Lafleur, member of the 1976 Canada Cup winning team. Mesdames et messieurs, Vladislav Tretiak, Mike Eruzione et Guy Lafleur. Nous demandons maintenant au capitaine des deux équipes de s'approcher pour la mise au jeu protocolaire de cette rencontre. And now the captains will exchange gifts, a tradition before every international hockey competition. Les capitaines des deux équipes, Vyacheslav Fetisov et Wayne Gretzky, vont maintenant procéder au traditionnel échange de cadeaux entre les équipes participant à une rencontre internationale. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and enjoy the game. Mesdames, Messieurs, bonne soirée et bon match.
Stay tuned for the opening face-off. This is Rendezvous 87 from Quebec City.
I told him, son, gas isn't just gas anymore. Today you need a gas that cleans. Why? It's simple. Fuel injectors and carburetors get dirty. The new no-trouble gasoline from Esso cleans as you drive. And it's in all our pumps.
Thanks, Dad.
No trouble, son. I told him.
Around here they know my name. Neighbors and friends, not just the person next door. Around here we know our game. Play to win 'cause we're keeping score. And our beer around here is OB, my friend. You know our beer around here is OB.
Around here, our beer is OV.
En route. It's recognized as more than an airline credit card. En route is recognized as the business travel card for people going places.
Over the years, General Electric has been turning ironing into less of a chore with innovations to meet the changing needs of each generation. Today, the General Electric heritage is carried on by Black & Decker with advanced models featuring automatic shutoff to make ironing safer, easier, and more convenient. Worry-free ironing backed by a 2-year warranty. Black & Decker. Remember the name, and you can forget about the iron. Thanks to our automatic shutoff. Another powerhouse innovation from Black & Decker.
Welcome back to La Colisée in Quebec City, and for tonight's second game, a National Hockey League referee will be in charge. At the Soviet bench, Viktor Tikhonov and his assistant, Vladimir Yurzanov, look on, and all three coaches will be behind the Canadian bench tonight. Michel Bergeron, who will look after the penalty killing, Jean Perron, the head man, and Bob Johnson of the Calgary Flames, who will handle the power play. He spent game one up in the press box, observing from up high and passing on his thoughts between periods. But the Canadian squad feels that they will have more power play opportunities in this game, and Team NHL thus has opted to have Johnson down at ice level. And as I said earlier, the National Hockey League supplies the referee for this second game, Dave Newell, who has just recently worked his 1,000th game, will have Ray Scapanello and Ron Finn with him. Evgeny Beloshakin is back in goal for the Soviet squad. He plays for the Red Army, And he made some great saves in the opening game, as did the man at the other end, the Team NHL goaltender from the Edmonton Oilers, Grant Fuhr. Not really much of a surprise that the coaching staff of both sides are staying with the goaltenders from Game 1.
And what else is not a surprise is the fact that the Team NHL is the home club, and they starred Howard Chuck along with Dineen and Poulin against the big Red Army line centered by Larionov.
Well, for a checking line, they did well in Game 1. For Team NHL, they came up with a pair of goals. Kevin Dineen and Dave Poulin with the winner. Green back into his own zone. For Langway, for Howard Chuck in the center ice area. He spins away behind his back for Poulin. In across the line, he fires it into the corner, and Krutov goes back to pick it up, loses it there to Howard Chuck. He tried to center it. It went off his skate, and back of the net, it's Kasatonov. Long lead pass to Larionov. The three Soviets in across Team NHL's line for Krutov. He tried to center it, but Howard Chuck was there to deflect it. It goes to the board, and it's picked up in the Team NHL zone by Doug Wilson. A long lead pass too far. It slides down the ice for an icing call against Team NHL.
The Soviets are already seeing more physical play from Team NHL. Tikhonov, very, very testy after Game 1. He said his team simply didn't play as well as they could have done. They changed their style in that game. They dumped the puck in 5 times into the Team NHL zone during the first period. In other words, they gave away possession. Once only in the second period and 3 times in the third. So the possession game that the Soviets used to employ, they did that during the second half, regrouping, going back into their own zone. Perron's team, he said, would come out more physical. Dineen broke his stick over Makarov that shift, and then Howard Chuck or Poulin took a run at one of the players.
The official symbol of Quebec Winter Carnival, Bonhomme Carnival, and the symbol of the carnival has a pretty good seat to take in action here in Game 2. Team NHL icing the puck, and the faceoff will take place back in the Team NHL.
And what they're doing there is picking up the splinters from Dineen's stick when he hit one of the players, and Poulin finished up with a check right there and banged, and he finished. He used his size, the upper part of his body, and the strength along the boards. That's what the NHL want to do in this hockey game.
It was interesting, after Game 1, Team NHL didn't think it was a particularly physical game. The Soviets thought it was a very physical game.
2 different theories on how to play the game. You must keep your emotions where they should be, though.
Gary Curry to Gretzky as Team NHL breaks out in across the line. Gretzky tried to drop it back to the point for Chelios. It was picked off by the Soviets, and they bring it out. Tatarinov in across the line into the slot for Lavrov. He had it knocked off his stick. There have been 2 changes in the lineup for the Soviets for this game. Nemchinov and Lavrov are in the lineup, replacing Semenov, who scored a goal, and Varnikov, who picked up an assist on that Semenov goal. Curry fires it around the boards, picked up by Tikkanen. Tikkanen tries to go back to the net for Gretzky. Tatarinov got there first, played it around on the boards, but it's kept in as Chris Chelios had pinched in from the point. Centered, and it just bounced away from Jari Kurri as Gretzky dug it out in the corner. In the center ice area, Svetlov spun around by Chelios. Kamensky following up took a backhand shot that goes wide, and it's brought out by Green. Over on the left side for Gretzky, too far. The Soviets knock it back out to the neutral zone. And then it's gloved and thrown in by Esa Tikkanen as the puck bounced high. He went off to the bench in the change, but he simply threw that puck down into the Soviet end. Here's Vikov with a shot, and Fuhr makes the save. A high rising shot that Fuhr gloved and juggled.
That was a great pass by Kamensky, a young rising star to the Soviets. A great pass, and the first shot that Grant Fuhr takes is a high shot on his glove hand side.
Team NHL with 8 defensemen dressed for this game. Norman Rochefort, who did not dress for Game 1, is in the lineup. Thomas Sandstrom is out of the lineup. He suffered an injury, and the New York Ranger forward will be lost for the next couple of weeks to his team.
Incidentally, Sandstrom has a cast on that foot now, and they're not real sure, and they think it may be a fracture. Rochefort getting his first shift.
Nemchinov tried to center it. He was taken in against the boards by Rod Langway, who played a superb game for Team NHL on Wednesday night. In the center ice area, Lemieux is spun around. Langway following up, shoots it into the Soviet zone, and there's a whistle on the play, a penalty call against the Soviet Union. So a power play opportunity early for Team NHL.
This is the beginning. The all-new Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Beauty with a passion for driving. Advanced front-wheel drive traction. Positive response suspension. Electronic fuel injection. The thrust of turbo power. And a world of comfort inside. All with a Chrysler Protection Plan. The new LeBaron Coupe from Chrysler. Best built, best backed.
22 seconds.
Nemchinov in the penalty box. The call is tripping at 3:22 of the first period. That was only his second shift on the ice. He did not play in game one, and we'll see what Deacon and the coach thinks about that. Watching the neutral zone, he goes in along with Anderson, and you see the legs catch. Not much of a call there. I think Lemieux went down trying to get out of the way of Glenn Anderson. I think Nemchinov feels the same way, but the National League team now with the power play they wanted on the ice get a chance.
Bork with a shot. It goes wide. That puck came bouncing off the top of the goal and almost went out front. Out front! And they score! Messier! Soviets are arguing the fact that goal went in, but the puck went over the line. They set up behind the net. Curry is there. Watch three Soviets try to scramble back to get at Mark Messier. They can't. And Newell points to the man that scored the goal. Messier, and jubilation is there. Watch the man get stripped by Curry right there. That's what the Soviets are upset about behind the net. Now all three of them are trying to get back. They think they had the puck. They didn't. And it's 1-0 National Hockey League. The captain now, Fetisov, is arguing the points right now with the officials. Mark Messier, who was the outstanding player for Team NHL in Game 1, getting the goal, a power play tally. And the assists go to Curry and Gretzky at 3:32. So it's 1-0 Team NHL over the Soviets, and it didn't take long for them to capitalize on that Soviet penalty. Their power play, the one opportunity they had in Game 1, really looked strong.
It looked strong. They had chances to put the puck in 3 or 4 times. What the National Hockey League wanted to do in their power plays, decide who was going to set up behind the net.
Fetisov back of his own goal. He's bodied by Poulin. Krutov tries to come out the other side. And Poulin has certainly been throwing his weight around early in the hockey game. He has dished out a couple of good body checks. Fetisov to Larionov. He takes the shot, and that's handled by Grant Fuhr, and off his stick it goes up into the crowd for a face-off in the Team NHL zone. Rendezvous 87 is coming to you from Quebec City.
No. We don't make terror like they do. We don't make terror like they do. We don't make like they do. Copiers.
Unlike other copier companies, Mita only makes copiers. After all, we didn't get to be the fastest growing copier company by making microwaves. Mita, all we make are great copiers.
The Soviets overload when they kill penalties. They're all trying to look at that loose puck. Look at Messier all by himself in front. The Soviets overload to one side. That cost them a goal. A couple of deflections on the way in, but the puck went over the line. Boy, when they kill penalties, they all end up on one side of the ice.
That reverse angle slow-mo showed us that Messier really didn't get good wood on it, and it actually went into the net off Krutov's stick. Back at his own line, Chelios quickly over on the wing for Port, who dumps it in. For Team NHL, Michel Goulet in behind the net. Picked up by the Soviets, and it's Svetlov in the neutral zone. Stopped by Chelios. He was looking for Goulet. Goulet gains possession. Retreats to the center ice area as Team NHL attempts to set something up, leading by a score of 1-0. The deflected in by Goulet. 15:06 the time remaining in this opening period.
We are seeing a very, very physical National Hockey League team here. The sticks are up. They're finishing checks all over the ice.
Lemieux plays it back to Samuelson. He tried to drive it in. It was broken up by the Soviets, and it goes back into the Team NHL zone. It's cleared, and Mark Messier, who scored that power play goal, feeds Anderson for Muller. Muller had difficulty controlling it. Delnoff takes him in against the boards, and the Soviets bring it back.
That was a pretty good elbow.
Kamensky racing for the loose puck along with Samuelson. Samuelson goes down, falling on top of it and covering up for a faceoff.
Michel Bergeron talked about the penalty killing in Game 1. He said it's a situation where most teams in the National Hockey League kill penalties in a very similar style, and he said, listen, it was easy to coach that part of it. Samuelson, the Hartford Whalers, he and Thomas Sandstrom grew up in an area of Sweden together. They started playing hockey together as 9-year-olds. They're the coaching staff on the bench of the Soviet Union discussing things and what strategy to use.
According to Emil Francis, Samuelson is a very underrated performer.
He says he's an original. You can't change him. He's a very different individual. He plays his own game. He's an aggressive player.
Gusarov, backhand shot, steered to the corner by Pure. Ryakin picks it up there for Seamak. Seamak into the slot and couldn't get a shot away, and back comes Gretzky. Gretzky with a long drive, that is gloved and held by Beloshakin for a face-off in the Soviet zone with 14:09 the time left in the opening period, and it's 1-0 for Team NHL.
The Thornbirds was a success in Canada. It earned some dollars for Australia, and it even earned 1 or 2 for me. Mind you, most of my books are printed on Canadian paper, and that earns a lot of dollars for you. I know how important your forest products are. Just make sure you stay ahead of the competition.
Our forests, our richest resource, our biggest business. Let's not take them for granted.
John, as you pointed out at the start of the telecast, Team NHL is the home team for this game, so as a result, John Perron has the opportunity to match lines, something that Tikhonov did not do in Game 1.
They just go 1-2-3-4, 1-2-3-4, unless they were losing. They used the Larionov line a little more, but what they're also doing is keeping Langway and Green on the ice as much as possible against that big line. Very defensive defenseman.
Howard-Chuck gets the draw to Green. It's played back to the net. Howard-Chuck with it, looking out front. He's having trouble there with Fetisov, and Kasatonov manages to get a shot away. Dineen takes the shot, and that goes over top of the net. Kasatonov trying to move out and finally dumps it down the ice as Green takes it back into his own zone, plays it off the boards. It got away from Dineen and is picked up by the Soviets in the neutral area. Krutov dumps it in. Langway goes back after it. Rink-wide pass deflected out into the center ice area. That's a dangerous type of pass in your own zone.
Here's the Soviets going back now, setting up. They did this a lot more in the second half of the game, but the Team NHL taking away passing lanes. Two Soviets trying to find some place to move the puck.
A shift back in the blue line for Team NHL as Bork and Wilson come out, but the Soviets are offside. They were only offside once in Game 1.
As far as Game 1 went, 5 times the National Hockey League was offside, only once the Soviet Union. Howard-Chuck, I was talking before about the power play when Gretzky likes to set up behind the net, so does Howard-Chuck behind the net, and so does Mario Lemieux, and all three were on the ice at the same time, and Gretzky said they were going to draw straws to see who had the opportunity to set up behind the net.
He had an interesting comment after Game 1. He said, you really notice the speed when you move from junior to the NHL. He said, Game 1 was another level of speed. Lemieux racing after that puck in the Soviet zone. He couldn't get to it, and the Soviets dump it down the ice. Racing back after it is Doug Wilson. Grant Fuhr also went into the corner to play it, picked up by Seamak. Seamak tried to center it. It's in escape. It goes around the boards on the other side and finally is knocked out. Here's a two-man break for Team NHL, but Mario Lemieux is tied up by Seamak, and the Soviets start out into the center ice area. Svetlov Goes rink wide. Tatarinov takes the shot. A high shot off the chest of Grant Fuhr. Tatarinov gets it again. Another shot that Lavrov almost redirected. Delnov back of the net, playing it around on the boards now to Svetlov. Svetlov fighting along the boards with Goulet. Goulet with Kamilev. Manages to poke it free, but it does come out as Mario Lemieux nudged it past the Soviet defenseman.
To this point, Don, the Soviets have been unable to penetrate the slot area. They're taking some good shots, but they're from the bad angle.
Bikov in across the line. Getting set, takes the shot. Grant Fuhr the save, and he covers up in the rebound with two Soviets in the lead.
Bikov tried to go to the slot. He couldn't get there. He went across the top of the slot and shot from a bad angle. 11:47 remaining in the first period.
Hockey fans could never agree on who had the hardest shot, Bobby Hull or me.
Bobby Hull, Eddie.
Or who was a better skater, me or Gordie Howe?
It was Gordie.
But one thing we can all agree on is Miller Lite.
Because we know light tastes great.
Light tasteless, Billy. Tasteless,
Boy, I'm going to keep my nose out of this one.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Bikov ends up almost past the face-off dot before he took the shot. That's what I meant by a bad angle. And good checking in front of the net. There's 3 NHL players, 2 Soviets there. In other words, the NHL club outnumbered the other team, and that's what you simply want. You don't want them to get those loose pucks. Face-offs in the first game, Don, there was 55 altogether. And team average in the NHL was around 75 for the two hockey clubs. Messier was 15-8. And here he's taking all the face-offs in the defensive zone once again.
Nemchinov in the face-off circle against Messier. Messier is waved out. So is Nemchinov. Kamilev comes in facing Gretzky. Gretzky gets the draw back of the net. And Grant Fuhr out of the goal to play it. Comes ahead to Gretzky on the left side for Messier. Just a little too far for him. Messier tries to flip it back out the short side. But the Soviet defenseman was there to cover up, and it's cleared into the neutral zone. Chelios bumps with Nemchinov. It's knocked back into Soviet territory. Gretzky with some aggressive forechecking along with Curry. They managed to keep the puck in there. Gretzky back to the net, trying to get it out front. Goes around one defender, a backhand shot. Loose puck at the side of the net as Beloshakin made the save. Gretzky tried to flip it out front again, and Tikkanen couldn't get a stick on it. Good pressure by this line. As Curry attempts to center it, Nemchinov ties him up, and Kryakin starts out with it to Gusarov. The Soviets coming in 3-on-2. A shot by Gusarov. That just went wide. Pass into the slot is intercepted by Yari Curry as Team NHL starts back. Curry dumps it in, goes to the bench on the change. Tikkanen chases in after the puck, and Gusarov comes up with it for the Soviets. Makarov. Larionov looking in front for Makarov. The save by Fuhr. Loose puck. Kasatonov couldn't get a good shot away. Larionov picks it up in the Team NHL zone to Kasatonov. Kasatonov tees it up. Tries it back to Larionov. He couldn't get a shot away. Tries to deflect it. And it's intercepted and brought back by Anderson. His shot goes off a leg to the corner. He's bumped by Krutov. Kasatonov tries to play it around on the boards. There's a whistle on the play. With 10-10 remaining, and there are going to be penalties to each side.
When it comes time to sell your home, consider this. Only one real estate sales organization sells more homes, finds more homes every day than anyone else in the world. No one has the power to move real estate like Century 21. Century 21, the largest real estate organization in the world.
For ice picking at 9 minutes 51 seconds.
Krutov and Anderson go off for high sticking at 9:50. The incident took place in the corner on the left-hand side of the screen.
The balance of Glenn Anderson here, he meets with Krutov, and they have quite a battle along the board. See him keep his balance, and they go after each other pretty good. bumping and grinding in this hockey game. The team's NHL rules will still play 6-a-side. Not bad having Krutov in the penalty box, though.
Katarinov whistles it around the boards. Lavrov at the line, tried to flip it back for Seaback. He was just outside the blue line offside.
As we look at the Soviets, John, they're getting 25 cases of Coke dropped off at their hotel every single day, and the players are drinking up to a dozen apiece per day, if you can imagine that. I don't know how they skate around.
These days, I think you'd better say Coca-Cola.
That's right.
2 players to a room. That means each of them is consuming 12 cans of Coca-Cola per day. They love Coca-Cola.
And it's in their contract. It has to be dropped off. That's part of their negotiations. The Soviet Union is a country built of 15 different republics. 6 of the republics are really heavily into hockey, where hockey is very popular. In other words, 120 million people are interested in hockey. Of the 100, well, there's a whole crew. 281 million make that, excuse me. 281 million people in the country. 120 are in areas where they like getting involved with hockey, Moscow being one of the cities.
A lot of players to choose from. But the majority of the team is made up of players from the Red Army. And that's the team that Viktor Tikhonov coaches in the Soviet Union, the team that has dominated in the Soviet National League for a number of years. Kevin Dineen in the corner, kicks it back of the net to Muller. Out front, he spun around as he attempted to do the wraparound move on his backhand. Now Lavrov getting set, takes the shot off Langway, goes to the corner. Langway up along the boards for Muller, unable to get it out. Langway trailing on the play, does pick it up, brings it down the ice and shoots it into the Soviet zone as Team NHL makes a change. 9:05, the time left to play in the first period. 1-0, Team NHL leading. The power play goal by Mark Messier. Kamensky across the line. Looking out front for Hamilyatov. It didn't get through. Kamensky gets it again. Into the corner. Doug Wilson goes in to try and help out, but it was deflected over the glass and out of play.
The Soviets just made a line change and controlled the puck during that play.
Coming up at the end of the first period, we'll talk with Washington defenseman Rod Langway. A star on Wednesday, a strong game again tonight. John Davidson, yesterday you spent some time with Coach Bob Johnson, watched him go over videotapes. We'll have a special feature on that, and that is all coming up at the end of the first period. Don?
Well, Brian, the teams did indeed take advantage of videotape to look at Game 1. They spent a lot of time studying the moves of the Soviets and, of course, some of their own work. And I think you'll enjoy that feature during the first intermission. Kamensky is taken in against the boards. Team NHL attempting to clear. Goes over the glass and out of play. A collision right at the blue line involving Lemieux and Stelnov.
Lemieux was in the hallway behind the NHL bench a while ago, and he had one of the trainers juggling with his legs as he was laying on his back. In other words, he was getting cramps. The puck is into the stands here, and Lemieux went to rub out the defenseman in case that puck stayed in, and he was going to make sure that the puck went out of his zone.
Some people wondered about his selection to the team. He was at it because of his physical presence and his checking ability.
Well, he just took a penalty, and Perron is looking around now. He has taken a 2-minute minor. That puck was in the stands. He had to stick up high on the Soviet defenseman. In fact, the call is high sticking. So the Soviets will get a chance now in their power play. Now with Krutov still in the penalty box, that will upset their green line, the line they call the Greens because they wear green jerseys every day at practice. So they will not start that unit.
They don't have a special power play unit. They throw out 5 guys, although the green unit is usually the one that goes out.
Belosheikin likes to rest and take his time when the puck's at the other end or a stoppage of play, and a lot of times he'll just get down on his knees, a little unorthodox perhaps, but he does it to take the pressure off the thighs.
And a lot of times he stays in that position until the other team is almost at his own blue line.
Maybe he plays on teams that he doesn't get much action in his zone, so he's able to take a rest. Now, Messier again out on the face-off. He and Gretzky do kill penalties a lot for the Edmonton Oilers. Langway and Green, of course, the better set of defensemen as far as penalties killing goes for the NHL team.
Gretzky deflects it down the ice. Messier goes off as Curry comes on to kill off this Soviet power play. Kamensky tried to move through, and Rod Langway stood his ground, knocked him off the puck. Green takes it into the corner, wins the battle there, and fires it down the ice. These two were very solid in game one, Green and Langway.
Played very well. Green was +2 in that hockey game. Langway was +3. Green outmuscled Beekoff and got the puck down the ice. He talked about people that have influenced him throughout his career, and he credits his dad. He says his dad, who lives in Lakehurst, Ontario, is the man that was most responsible for helping him along. He had some lean years. 6 years he was in Washington, never in the playoffs. In fact, in junior, the 4 years that he played, he was only in the playoffs once.
Stopped at the line. Samuelson's shot did not get out. Krutov in the corner. Makarov taking up position right to the right of Grant Fuhr. He did this throughout game one whenever they had a power play.
Whenever this line is on the ice, 24 Makarov will set himself up to the right of Grant Fuhr and stay there. Even though the Soviets move the puck around, he will station himself there for a deflection, a rebound, or a pass towards him. The NHL club are very, very aware of it.
Larionov in across the line to Krutov. Krutov to Larionov. Back to the point. Kazatonov. Fetisov takes the shot. Goes off the skate into the corner to Makarov. Fetisov trying to slide it into the side of the net to Krutov. It bounces to the corner. Krutov gets it to Fetisov. His shot goes wide. Kazatonov at the other point. Unable to keep it in as it's dumped down the ice by Poulin.
Not a quality shot by the Soviets. They're trying to make the nice play to the front of the net, and at the front of the net, the NHL club are knocking people out of the way and reading the passes.
Just 17 seconds left in the penalty. Zeman. Bodied there by Green. Lavrov comes in to try and help out. Zeman has lost his helmet. He goes to Lavrov. The penalized player is back in the ice. Lavrov tried to center against Green. It bounced off him into the corner. Langway plays it around on the boards and down the ice. Fetisov in his own zone. Just managed to get it out. He fanned on the shot, and Michel Goulet almost kept that in. That would have been a 3-on-1 for Team NHL. The Soviets fire it out to the neutral zone. Normand Rochefort along the boards. He did not rest for game one. He was an addition to Team NHL with the injuries to Paul Coffey and Mark Howe that prevented them from playing. Live on CBC, Rendezvous 87.
There's a powerful new reason to drive a Chrysler Magic Wagon. Front-wheel drive V6 power, fuel-injected power. And this is what V6 power is all about. The power to climb, to pass, to tow, to pull you through the toughest winter with front-wheel drive V6 power. And you're protected for 7 years or 115,000 kilometers. Powerfully new Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager. Best built right here in Canada and best backed.
That time, Makarov is set up on the other side of the net because the puck is on the opposite side. They will continue to use the player. Langway's aware of him. You see him look around. He knows he's there. If the puck is going to be passed through, there's no way he's going to let it allow that puck to get through. Now he reads the play and goes behind and makes it. Makarov, the team studied the Soviet power play. They saw him standing there, and that's good defense by NHL.
Coach Jean Perron said, and we saw evidence of it with Rod Langway, your head has to be on a swivel playing these guys. Rod Langway kept spinning around, glancing back to take a look at where Makarov was.
Langway talked about his confidence level after game one going way up. He said he's not had a good season in Washington, and neither have the Capitals. But after that game, he felt his confidence level just rise right up, and he said he's ready for anything. And again, he's having a good night.
That perhaps might not be good news for other teams in the Patrick Division. battled along the boards involving Rochefort, Muller, and Bilyetdinov, and they finally forced a face-off.
There was a line change not too long ago. The Soviets had control of the puck. And we'll watch them. They're going to try and make a line change. And what happens is they control it. They control it. They control it while their players skate to the bench. Look at how they see that they're making a change. They turn back. They go the other way. They can make 2 or 3 quick passes. That allows their teammates to get back on the ice. They make a line change and never lost control of the puck.
Most times in the NHL, the team will dump it in and then make the line change.
It's interesting to watch the different theories and different cultures in the way they play this game, and that was educational to see that.
And the two sides have learned from each other.
I think we're seeing a combination of both right here in this hockey game. Physical play, plus a lot of good puck-controlled situations.
1-0 Team NHL leads, 5:16 remaining in the opening period. The Soviets to the attack. Kryakin in across the line, having difficulty controlling it as he's bodied by Raymond Bourque, played around on the boards. Bilyetdinov keeps it in. It comes out to Nemchinov. He takes a hit from Wilson. Kryakin picks up the loose puck. He tried to go cross ice, but it's intercepted by Raymond Bourque of the Boston Bruins. A long shot, and that's kicked to the corner by Beloshakin as Team NHL makes the change.
Team NHL have not established a forechecking pattern here as the Soviets are moving out easily from their zone.
Chelios takes it away from Kamalev. Plays it around on the boards, but not out. Bykov managed to keep it in. Kamalev tried to backhand it into the corner, picked off by Team NHL as the Tikkanen was looking for Glenn Anderson breaking out of the zone, but the pass did not get through. Team NHL tries again, but they're stopped at the Soviet line, but they intercept the pass. Curry in across the line for Tikkanen. He tried to go rink wide looking for Gretzky. It's intercepted by the Soviets as they go to the attack. Amayutov in across the line for Bykov. He couldn't do anything with it, and it's dumped out by Team NHL with 4:03 remaining in the opening period. 1-0, Team NHL leading on a power play goal by Mark Messier. Delnoff in his own zone. Up on the boards, too far for Kamensky. Rod Langway gathers it in for Gretzky. Gretzky plays it to the line, a neat pass to Tikkanen. He simply flips it towards the Soviet goal. He couldn't move in across the line as he was being well shadowed by 2 Soviet defenders.
Soviets seem to be well prepared for the counter that the NHL used in Game 1. When the NHL club went from defense to offense, they did it quickly. Here the Soviets, who spoke about it, Tatarinov, the defenseman in particular, seem to be aware of it, just sending one man towards the NHL club, and they get control, and they're trying to come out again.
Both sides so adept at making that transition from defense to offense. A shot off the side of the net. Soviet player tied up by both NHL defensemen as it's brought out by Dale Hawerchuk to Kevin Dineen. Offside on the left wing was Dave Poulin, and now there's a collision deep in Soviet territory involving Dineen and Krutov, and then Krutov does some shoving along with Fetisov with Chris Chelios. Rendezvous 87 continues in a moment.
Captain Fetisov in the penalty box, roughing the call, 17:04. Team NHL are 1-for-1 on the power play. They do not have that same unit on the ice now. We'll see, the whistle had sounded, and he went in and gave Dineen a pretty good shot. Dave Newell decided to make the call. Fetisov, incidentally, is playing hurt in this game. He has a bad knee, ligament problems. He was nailed by Ramsey in Game 1 of this series.
Hawerchuk at center with Anderson and Goulet. York and Wilson back on the point. Delay to Bork, who takes it to safety behind his own net as he's watched by McElroy. Now Team NHL to the attack. 2:40 remaining in the period. Fired in. Anderson takes the shot from a bad angle. It whistles around the boards. Howardchuk picks it up in the corner. Howardchuk spun around behind the back pass for Goulet. He's particularly adept at this. He's done it a number of times with the Winnipeg Jets, and he did it twice in game one. Two excellent behind the back passes that he made, one setting up a goal. Howardchuk has it again behind the net. Finally, he's tied up, and the puck is played around the boards by the Soviets and into the neutral zone.
What Howardchuk was trying to do is just get the puck away from himself into an open man. There was 3 Soviets over against Howardchuk, and if he could have found an open man, the Soviets not putting pressure on the NHL club coming out of their zone. When the NHL club takes the puck back, there's simply no pressure at all. Look at the Soviets, they're backing off. Lead pass for Gretzky. Gretzky behind his back to Jari Kurri. For Mark Messier, back to Kurri. The two of them take it into the corner. Now Gretzky comes in after that loose puck for Messier. Messier back to the point for Bork. He had difficulty controlling it, couldn't get a shot away. Gretzky tried to slide it back to Bork. It was intercepted by Krutov and dumped down the ice with 25 seconds remaining in the penalty to Fetisov. 1:18 left in the opening period. Here we see the Soviets peeling off again, and the NHL club moving out of their zone rather easily. That's something that the Soviets have not done in recent games.
Katarinov gets it ahead to Semak, and the Soviets knock it out, and they go to the attack. Stopped at the line, and Mario Lemieux brings it back. Here's a 2-on-1. Gretzky sliding it to the goal. He was looking for the winger, and Beloshakin put a pad out to stop it, but really wasn't sure where that puck was.
It almost looked like Gretzky was moving the puck and hoping that the goaltender would leave a rebound for his winger who was heading in, but it was well checked. A couple of Gretzky passes this period have been intercepted. Now watch this. He's trying to move it across, and Beloshakin lost it. The NHL club, again, wants to try and find that hole between the legs of the goaltender. Gretzky talking, look at his stick, the blue tape on the top. He does not put a big knob there. He feels it's uncomfortable for his hands, and he wouldn't be able to handle the puck quite as well.
He has specially made sticks, as we mentioned the other night, $37 each, and they are a very heavy stick.
Well, you go to the net as much as he does, they like to chop away at his stick and try and break it. Naslund, the same thing as we mentioned before. There's a man that had a great game in game one, Vikov, 155 pounds.
Mario Lemieux centered it, but Claude Lemieux could not get a stick on it. Vikov, backhand shot just went wide. What a good backhand. Gusarov with a shot, that's wide. Centered, nobody in the slot. Team NHL gains control on the left side. Dumped in for Kevin Dineen now as Dineen runs into the Soviet player Gusarov. Dineen comes up with it to Lemieux. Lemieux tried to center it, gets it again. Lemieux plays it back to the net with 14 seconds left. Out front, intended for a pull, and he was knocked down. The puck slides out to the neutral zone. Amayutov tried to feed it across ice to Vikov. Now it comes in across the line as the second tick away, and that's the end of period one with a bit of a skirmish along the boards in the Team NHL zone. 7 shots on goal for the Soviets in the opening period, 6 for Team NHL. Team NHL with the only goal, a power play tally by Mark Messier at 3:32. Now, let's go down to Brian Williams.
All right, Don Whitman, in this series, we have seen the reemergence of the defensive defenseman. And coming up, we're going to talk with one of the best, Rod Langway. Then we have that feature. John Davidson yesterday spent some time with assistant coach Bob Johnson of the Calgary Flames, finding out just how he broke down the videotapes of the first game. Stay with us. The score at the end of the first period, the National Hockey League 1 and the Soviet Union 0.
Hello from Red Deer, Alberta, and another Anison Gallup poll. Last year, 200 families here who were not using Anison tried it instead of their regular pain reliever. Did Anison work for them? Would they keep on using it? 2 months later, 81% of the families interviewed said yes. Once again, we learned the people who try Anison stay with Anison. Why? Anison works time after time. Anison in Red Deer, 81% said yes.
tiny trouble. My time.
Thank you.
No trouble.
Tiny trouble.
Tiny troubles. Taking care of them is no trouble to us.
No trouble.
In a world of cards, one stands out. En route. It's honored by airlines worldwide, major hotels, car rentals, and fine restaurants. En route is more than a card. It's a travel management system designed specifically for people going places for business or pleasure. And En route offers savings at hotels and car rental agencies. En route, the card for people going places. Your travel agent has all the details.
There's a road 170,000 kilometers long stretching in front of the average car. And that's why Motomaster parts are what your car needs. Because Motomaster parts are built tough for the long run. And every Motomaster part is backed as tough as it's built. So no matter where in Canada your road takes you, Canadian Tire stands behind them. Down the long road, it's nice to know you've got more than a part. You've got a company. Motomaster parts. Built tough, backed tough.
What did he do to you?
He once held the power of life and death over her. Carrie's going to make sure it doesn't happen twice. Street Legal, best on the box, Tuesday night.
End of the first period, like on Wednesday, 1-0 for the National Hockey League, and like on Wednesday, an Edmonton Oiler has scored the goal. Tonight, it has been Mark Messier. We talk about the reemergence of the defensive defenseman. Next to me is one of the very best, Rod Langway of the Washington Capitals. Prior to this series, we kept hearing the players looked on it as it was a pain in the neck. They wanted to go to Phoenix. They want to play golf in Florida. You wanted to come in the worst way.
Well, I think not to play. I think in a situation where I wasn't even on the first 30 players to be representing or asked to be chosen to play in this game. And I felt that with a week off that I had an opportunity to come up here and enjoy one day to see Quebec and to see some great hockey players. And I was thinking to just come up on a Wednesday and stay overnight and leave on Thursday.
So you were going to pay your own way up here?
Oh, for sure.
I speak for all Canadians. I'm glad you didn't have to. You're one of the few non-Canadian players on this team.
Well, my father's in the service, so I was born overseas in Taiwan, and I grew up mostly in Boston. And I played mostly football and baseball, and then all of a sudden Bob York came around, and like any Bostonian, we started to fall in love with the Boston Bruins, and I started playing, went to the University of New Hampshire on a football scholarship, and I played both football and hockey, and I got chosen to play in the NHL and the WHA.
I tell you something, you said Bobby Orr just like a Bostonian.
Number 4.
Let's talk about what have you changed in your game plan tonight, and what have the Soviets done different?
Well, I think we're playing the same way. I think, again, they're not out skating our forwards. I think when a defenseman can only play a one-on-one situation against that team, tonight it seems like we're getting caught a little bit too much. We're trying to go on the offense a little bit, and they're getting quite a few 3-on-2s on our defense, but Grant made some great saves, and we've been pretty lucky with the pucks hit my skate a couple times, and Rick Green's and the other core defensemen are playing extremely well. But we got to tighten it up a little bit more, and I think they're going to the net. I think instead of dropping the puck, they're just throwing the puck softly at the net, and they're getting some opportunities because of that.
Rod, prior to this series, there was concern. Without Howe and Coffey, with the exception of Ray Bork, the defensemen weren't able to lug the puck out. But we've seen the defensive players come back, led by yourself and Green.
Well, it makes our job a lot easier when you have talent that's on this club, no doubt about that. And I think that if we can, like I said before, we can play defensive hockey and also do the job of moving the puck when it's on our stick. We're not going to beat anybody one-on-one with the puck. Mm-hmm. And I know myself and Rick, we've been around a long time, and we played against great hockey players before, so we're more at ease of playing our own game and not worrying about putting on a show.
Take us behind the scenes. What did you do after the game Wednesday night? How did you come down?
Well, we went out and had a couple of beers, and that's normal for me anyways. I don't like to go out and have something to eat because I can't, my stomach's too nervous, and I enjoy to have a couple of beers with the guys and talk hockey and enjoy a win. And that's one of the best things about playing hockey is that you have the time to, as a group, go out and have a good time.
What about last night? Were you able to get to sleep?
We had a good meal last night. We went for Michelangelo's to have a good spaghetti dinner, and we went out after that and had a couple more beers, and we had a good night's sleep. we had a nice skate this morning and got a lot of rest this afternoon.
All right, Rod, there are charters leaving after the game tonight, taking the players back to their various locales. I know Kevin Dineen has to play tonight, or tomorrow night, if you can believe it, in Los Angeles. Where do you go from here?
I'm staying over. I'm going to, again, enjoy the win or the loss. I'm going to take it easy and get up tomorrow morning and take a flight to Edmonton. And we play Sunday afternoon, so I've got a day of relaxation, really.
Well, again, I speak for all Canadians. Good to have you on this team. Good luck in the remaining 2 periods. Stay healthy, and good luck with Washington.
Oh, thank you very much.
That is Rod Langway of the Washington Capitals. Stay with us. Our first intermission will continue live from Quebec City right after these messages.
Hello, sports fans. Have I got a scoop for you? The Everybody Wins with Kraft hockey program is ready to go. Free NHL Superstar cards and selected Kraft products. A Superstar charcoal print offer. What do you say about that, Larry Robinson?
Not a bad-looking guy.
And there's more. On every jar of Kraft peanut butter, a hockey scratch and win card. Win cash coupons are one of 33,000 hockey equipment prizes. The Everybody Wins with Kraft hockey program. 33,000 prizes.
You got it.
In the beginning, all RRSPs look alike. They save taxes and make money for retirement. But if you look closer, you'll see that some make more money than others, consistently. Over the last 19 years, the industrial group of funds from Mackenzie Financial has proven that to more than 250,000 Canadian investors. So to see your RRSP take off, see your investment fund dealer or stockbroker, the industrial group of funds, looking both ways to manage your money.
From Touchstone Pictures, audiences everywhere are raving about Bette Midler and Shelley Long in Outrageous Fortune.
I thought it was fantastic. Good show.
Outrageous.
I think every guy in the country should come see this movie.
That kind of evening, huh?
We just went to a funeral and it really cheered us up. I thought it was hysterical.
Wild. Yeah, I'm bringing my next boyfriend next Saturday. Promising sexual favor?
Outrageous. Outrageous.
Outrageous Fortune.
The title fits it.
Now playing at famous selected theaters near you. Check your local listing.
You know, when it comes to hand and power tools, I know that Home Hardware has everything for me. Home has a great selection of benchmark and brand name tools, all guaranteed and always at a great price. Because behind my home dealer, there are over 900 more. And that means they're behind me, too. Home has more for me. Honey? Coast to coast. That's way too nice, people. Home Hardware. Home of the handyman.
End of the first period. Welcome back live to Quebec City. Mark Messier's ruled the difference so far. Hockey, like other sports, has entered the electronic age. And yesterday afternoon, following practice here in the Colisée, John Davison visited with an old friend.
Coaching 14 years internationally, how do you prepare, specialty team-wise, for the Soviets?
Well, one, we take tapes of their recent games and against North American teams, and that was involved in the Calgary Cup over the Christmas holidays. Two, we had Craig Patrick follow them in the Avestia tournament, so we had a pretty good book on what they did in the power play and what they did killing penalties. And then we showed both our power play and our penalty killers right there on the tape what they did so they could visualize. And then we had, only a couple days to prepare, but obviously the first game our penalty killers did a great job, and the one opportunity we had some pretty good chances on our power play.
Show me.
Okay, here, this is the one opportunity we had last night, John. And this is the Russians were called for too many men on the ice, and they put number 13 there, Kaminsky, their 20-year-old player in the penalty box. But we do a pretty good job. We have designed two power plays. First of all, we had Raymond Bork on the right side and Doug Wilson on the left. In the front line, we had Gretzky, Messier, and it was supposed to be Curry there on the offside. But Curry was tired, so we had to throw Howard Chuck out there. He did a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job. They're very aggressive in the point, so we were trying to get it to Gretzky over here. And Messier was going to be in front of the net, and Curry was going to slide in late. And Wayne, he made a nice pass. Now there, if you see that if that player would have been right-handed instead of left-handed, the angle would have been better and the shot would have been quicker. Good opportunity here. There's Gretzky and Messier and Howard Chuck. They're getting the loose pucks. Here's Wayne now. He puts it behind the net. And watch the Russians. There's 1, 2, 3 players over there. They only have one player left. They're trying to outnumber you, but we win the battle, I think, here. Howard Chuck does a great job here. Messier wins the battle. It puts it right over to Gretzky, has a chance.
Now you see all three Soviets now heading over to the other side of the ice.
Yeah. They are very aggressive. Now it goes back, and we try to hit Messier in front of the net. There's Borg again. Fires the puck. You see Messier and Howard Chuck are both in front of the net trying for a tip-in.
They do not appear to be overly physical in front of their own net. In other words, their defensemen aren't staying back there to knock you down.
No, they're trying to outnumber you wherever the puck is, and then they'll shoot it down the ice, and they'll be very aggressive coming down, which we practiced in the morning yesterday, but really didn't get a chance to work on it. It's a good play here to keep it in. Now watch this. If this, in front of the net, if this would have been Curry instead of Howard Chuck, being right-handed to left-handed.
In other words, you're saying Curry's right-handed,
yes.
Howard Chuck is left-handed.
And he still makes a pretty good play, Howard Chuck. Watch. See, if the angle of his stick, if he would have been right-handed, he maybe could have scored.
Because he would have been out on top of the crease, and the puck could not be intercepted by the goaltender. All right. Thanks very much, Coach. 14 years of international experience. I can certainly see why it works.
All right, thank you, John Davidson and Bob Johnson. I'll tell you something. Johnson's done an excellent job with the power play. They look like the Soviets, the way they threw it around on Wednesday. And, of course, tonight, Mark Messier has scored a power play goal. Stay with us. Lots more to come. Rendezvous 87 will continue in just a moment.
There's never any time for us, no time left in a day. We're both so close and yet so far. We've got to get away.
Let American Airlines special low fares take you away with someone special.
Without a single care. We're American Airlines. Something special in the air.
I happen to think Mother's makes a perfect pizza. Authentic Chicago-style deep dish, or Mother's original style. Baked with fresh dough, made daily, fresh grated cheese, even fresh mushrooms, and done right from scratch. And the pasta's perfect, too. Now that is what I call good. Real good. Mother's pizza pasta made perfect.
Now open in the Milliken Wells Shopping Center on McCowan, south of Steeles.
Mark Messier with the only goal, a power play tally in the opening period. Team NHL leading the Soviets by a score of 1-0. John, let's expand on the comment we made in the first period. Team NHL did not feel Game 1 was particularly physical. The Soviets did. This one is much more physical from a Team NHL point of view.
The Soviets are probably in the dressing room right now with ice packs on their legs, their arms, their backs. The NHL club knew Dave Newell, the NHL referee, was out there. They knew that they could play a physical game because that's what they do basically every night in the National Hockey League. They're back playing their style. The Soviets did control the puck well in their own zone, came out well, had trouble finishing once again. Go back and give credit to Team NHL in their own zone. The forwards are coming back deep with the Soviet wingers. The defensemen are clearing people out in front. The one area I thought the NHL club had good success was right behind Beloshakin's net. 2 or 3 times the players controlled the puck. Howard Chuck in particular, Gretzky one time to set up with Messier. In fact, the goalie scored set up from behind the net.
John, the Team NHL coaches worked with videotape. I would suspect from what we saw in the opening period, the Soviets also spent some time viewing videotape of Game 1.
The coach, Tikhonov, says, no, we don't use it. And the goaltender, Beloshakin, says, sure, we look at tape, so you tell me. Who does? I think I'll believe the goaltender. You bet they do. And they change their style somewhat. They have the ability a lot of times to change their style during a game. They get 2 or 3 different game plans. They're still controlling the puck well. We saw that during the line change, not dumping the puck away. One thing about puck possession, which is what they want, you have to win faceoffs to have good puck possession. Mark Messier is doing a fine job winning faceoffs and not allowing the possession all the time to go to the Soviets.
1-0 is the score for Team NHL live on CBC. This is Rendezvous 87.
G'day. When they invited me along to this turnout, I took the precaution of bringing enough of the liquid gold to go round. Ah, ripper. Looks like I did the right thing, too. That stuff looks about as popular as a piranha in a hot tub. Struth. Must be worse than I thought. Foster's, the golden throat charmer.
A few minutes prior to boarding, my favorite time. Some people think there's nothing to do but wait. We know better, don't we? Think what can be accomplished by calling ahead and touching base with customers, or tying up loose ends back at the office. All with this. And those, of course. Aren't they clever?
You're really never out of the office with business long distance from Dell.
In the world of business, there are leaders who are the first to think of a brilliant idea. And there are followers who will try to imitate it. The same holds true for copiers. At first glance, the imitations may appear exactly like the real thing. But look closely, and you'll discover nothing is as good as the original.
Ann Blake, buyer, condition, headache.
It's a constant nagging throb.
Why haven't you tried Tylenol?
You have to prove to me that it worked just as well as mine.
Clinical studies prove Tylenol has the strength to deliver really effective relief, yet it won't upset your stomach. How do you feel?
I feel great. I really do. Now that I've tried Tylenol, I feel much better and the headache's all gone. I will buy Tylenol.
Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada, fresh from Rendezvous 87, Dale Hawerchuk rejoins the Winnipeg Jets as they play at the Montreal Forum against the Canadiens. And some of you will watch Terry O'Reilly's Boston Bruins in Toronto against the Maple Leafs. Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada. Well, after the first period on Wednesday, it was all Edmonton. The goal had been scored by Curry with Gretzky and Tikkanen assisting. Tonight, again, it is all Edmonton. Power play, 3:32 in the first period. Mark Messier with the assists going to Yari Curry and Wayne Gretzky. Shots on goal a lot more even tonight. They were something like 11-6 for the National Hockey League after the first period Wednesday. Tonight, they're 7-6 for the Soviet Union. We're just about ready for the second period. Coming up after the second period tonight, we'll talk with Dave Poulin, the articulate forward from the Philadelphia Flyers, who had the winning goal on Wednesday. And we'll talk live with NHL President John Ziegler. We're going to find out if we'll get another one of these great series in the near future. Right now, let's take you back upstairs. Once again, here are Don Whitman and Big John Davidson.
Thank you, Brian. And you talk about this series perhaps continuing. I think there are a lot of people here in Quebec City who would like to see it go about 7 more games.
As you look at the first period statistics, that passing percentage of 79% is up 6% from game 1 for the Soviets. For the NHL, it's minus 5% down to 70. Faceoffs, 14-5. They were 6-2 in favor of Messier. The body checks, well, you saw that in the first period. The NHL controlled that area.
Period 2 underway with Rick Green bringing it out and dumping it in. Racing back after it is Fetisov for Makarov. Played ahead to Krutov. He drops it back for Makarov. Returns it to Krutov. Krutov playing it back to Fetisov. Backhand shot. Bad save by Grant Fuhr. Team NHL starts back. Fetisov was allowed to move into the slot, and he let that shot go. Somewhat similar to the play he made in game 1, where Fuhr snaked out that glove hand to take an almost sure goal away from the veteran Soviet defenseman. Fetisov, a long shot from the point. Fuhr handles that one easily. It's along the boards in Team NHL zone. Picked up now by Rick Green. Around the boards for Deneen. He anticipated that move by Fetisov. Now it comes back to Kasatonov. And Kasatonov let a wicked drive go just wide. Larionov for Krutov. Krutov back of the net. Out front looking for Fetisov. He races in from that point. He was right in front of Grant Fuhr.
And that was a 1 minute, 10-second shift for that NHL line, and they were dead tired at the end of it. Could hardly get to the bench for a line change. The pace of this game is very quick once again. Anderson back of the net looking for Kirk Muller. It goes around on the boards and is brought out by Svetlov. He shoots it into the Team NHL zone. Bork knocks it out into the center ice area. Messier racing after it. Trying to get away from Terbukin. Terbukin is hammered into the boards by Messier. Team NHL with the puck. Raymond Bork had moved into the slot. Away from him. He finally got it, spun around, and fired it wide. Chelios over to Ray Bork.
Back to Doug Wilson. Wilson shoots it in for Buchan. Plays it around on the board. Out to the line to Svetlov. And now Kasatonov sends Svetlov away, but he was hit by a check in the neutral zone from Ulf Samuelsson of the Hartford Whalers.
Quick pace, we talk about it and talk about it. You're seeing it. We're nearly 3 minutes into the second period without a whistle again.
Kamensky moving into the slot. A high shot off the glass as he came in against Samuelsson.
Kamensky likes to go high all the time. Grant Fuhrer standing up prepared for those high shots.
Normand Rochefort shooting it into the Soviet zone. Gretzky racing after it. Gets it to Tikkanen. Tikkanen centers it. Shakin steers it to his defenseman, Zarakov, and it's knocked out into the neutral zone. Mayasov circling at center ice. On the right side for Bikov. Runs into a check there from Rochefort. The puck comes back to the line. Zarakov winds up. The shot does not get through. Picked up by Mayasov. Hit the side of the net. Another shot. They score. Kamensky.
Team NHL get themselves caught going after loose pucks, and what happens is the Soviets finally get to set themselves up in the slot area. They hit a goal post, and then once again they got a good shot from the slot, and they finish the play. Kamensky, the young star, see the NHL club, 4 people in one position. They're all looking at that loose puck. Not picking up assignment. And look how wide open Kamensky is. He almost missed the shot himself. But it did finish. As soon as they started looking around, looking for those loose pucks, they missed their assignments. And the Soviets got there. Nobody's on them right away. And Kamensky, one motion shot at a 1-1 hockey game.
Assisted by number 15, Anthony Hokundov, and number 27, Vyacheslav Bikov.
Mayasov and Bikov draw the assists on the goal by Kamensky at 3:13. It's tied at 1. Claude Lemieux back of the net. Trying to move out. To the line now to Chelios. His shot is blocked. It bounces high into the neutral zone. Priakin picks it up. He takes a shot off the leg. Chelios behind his own goal for Team NHL. Having difficulties there with Priakin. Puck goes loose in the corner. Chelios is bodied by Kamailev. And finally it's knocked out into the neutral zone.
John, that goal was scored at 3:13. That was the first stoppage of play in that period.
Lemieux in across the line. Gets away from Dukarov. Lemieux back of the net. Gets it out front, and it bounced away from Mario Lemieux. Comes out to the neutral zone. Claude Lemieux doing a good job there of sending off the check to center that puck.
Tried to find a man open in the slot. Soviets with a sloppy line change here. Icing will be called because of that sloppy line change. But the Soviets see the second period. They can dish it out pretty well themselves, and that was the scouting report. They can play physical, they can play with finesse, and we're seeing both.
From Quebec City, this is Rendezvous 87.
When you're buying or selling a home, it's important that a lawyer protect your interests. You should see your Advocate Legal Center member office regarding the transfer of title and related financial matters. The cost will be $440 plus disbursements, an additional charge for mortgage preparation. To buy or sell real estate, see your Advocate Legal Center member office. Advocate Legal Centers.
Ron Finn is the only official to work both games. He was partnered on the lines by John D'Amico in Game 1. He's working with Ray Scapanello in this second game. And Dave Newell is the referee. Nikolai Morozov of the Soviet Union officiated Game 1. Howard Chuck with Poulin and Deneen for the face-off in the Soviet zone. The draw comes back to Langway. Langway tees it up, lets it go, it just goes wide. Howard Chuck back of the net. Looking out front. Tries to center it. It bounces off a leg. Krutov gets it, and the Soviets start out. They try to dump it in. It's intercepted by Green. A touch of irony in the fact that Green and Langway are partnered back in the blue line as they were involved in that trade a few years back between Washington and Montreal. Lead pass for Krutov working against Langway. Comes out to Makarov. He tried to jam it in the short side, and Grant Fuhr got a piece of it. Green also did a good job checking. Larionov going to the corner. Gets it to Fetisov. Fetisov out front. They score! Krutov. What a beautiful play by the Soviets. Fetisov, the team captain, joined the play. The three forwards were spread out. They had puck control. Fetisov went through, and he was wide open. He got control of it. Look at them spread out. There's no red jerseys together. They're all spread out. Now the NHL club has lost three men now against the boards. It's now a wide open man in front, and they finished. Fetisov with a good play to move the puck. Grant Fuhr tries to move out at the shooter. It went off the top of his goal stick through his legs. The first time that the Soviets have held the lead in the two games. Bounces away from Gretzky and is dumped down the ice by the Soviets. Stopped back to the net by Grant Fuhr for Ulf Samuelsson. He comes out with Doug Wilson of the Chicago Blackhawks. He shoots it in. Pervukin takes it into the corner. Plays it around the boards for Lavrov. Gretzky forces him back. Pervukin gets it again. Through the line, kept in by Samuelsson. Gretzky centered it, but Tatarinov was there to intercept for the Soviets. He plays it off the boards and down the ice. No icing on the call as Grant Fuhr is way out of his net. He plays it high up in the glass, but not out. Kept in by Pervukin. For Lavrov, he leaves it for Svetlov. Svetlov being harassed there by Doug Wilson. Manages to play it in back of the net. Fuhr way out of his net to bang it around on the boards, but not out. Soviets applying pressure. Finally, Gretzky gets it ahead to Curry. But Pervukin wins the race for that loose puck. Stopped in the neutral zone by Samuelsson. He has to wait for his teammates to get onside before he can shoot it in. And Team NHL makes the change. Anderson keeps it in, gets it again, takes the shot. And that was steered to the corner by Beloshakin. Kikkonen now gets it centering, looking for Anderson. The pass did not get through. Good forechecking by Anderson. He gets it to Gretzky, a shot. And the save by Beloshakin. And now we have a skirmish, and this involves Anderson and Tatarinov, who had a bit of a set-to in game one. We saw some fine checking by the Soviets in their own zone, but it was persistence of the NHL club that worked and finally had the scoring chance. 13-13 left in the second period.
Make way for the new generation of pickups.
Make way! Make way!
All new Dodge Dakota, North America's first mid-size pickup. Dakota handles like a small pickup. Room for 3 inside and full-size payload capacity. Plus, the pulling power and performance of a V6 engine. Mid-size Dakota, the only 4-wheel drive with Dodge's Ram Top Warranty protection.
Make way for Dodge Dakota! Make way!
Dodge, the official trucks of the NHL.
With 13-13 left in the period, Team NHL came close to tying it. The go-ahead goal at 5:17, Krutov from Fetisov and Larionov. Kamensky scored the other Soviet goal at the 3:13 mark of this second period. Mark Messier, the only goal for Team NHL. Messier in that face-off circle gets it to Anderson. Anderson takes the shot off the leg, goes back to the net, tried to go to his backhand. He was spun around. Good work by Anderson. He keeps it in there. Anderson for Messier in the corner. He centered it. It's deflected by Beloshakin. Up off the glass, the Soviets pick it up and bring it out. Broken up in the neutral zone by Raymond Bourque. And Team NHL attempts to set up now in its own zone. Lead pass for Glenn Anderson. Drops it for Messier. Back to Anderson. Anderson behind the goal. Looking for Kirk Muller. He was tied up, and the Soviets knock it out to the neutral area. Brought back in by Team NHL. Anderson drops it for Messier. Messier back to the net. Tried to slide it out front for Anderson, who was uncovered, but it didn't get through. Now Kirk Muller at the side of the net. Battling for it with Sarakov. Aggressive forechecking by Team NHL in that Soviet zone. And finally, the Soviets gain control, and it's brought out by Hamayutov. He works against Raymond Bourque. Vikov follows up in the play, takes the hit as the puck goes behind the net, and Raymond Bourque starts back. A lead pass too far for Claude Lemieux. No icing on the call, however, as Priakin in his own zone now Gets away from Lemieux, but he's forced back by Mario Lemieux. Circles and gets away from the two Lemieux and goes to the attack. Lead pass intended for Nemchinov, too far as it's touched by Team NHL. It's an icing call against the Soviets. The tempo has definitely picked up in this second period. Live on CBC Rendezvous 87.
En route. It's recognized as more than an airline credit card. En route is recognized as the business travel card for people going places.
The face-off to the right of Beloshakin, 11:41 is the time remaining in this second period. 2-1 the Soviets lead. Lemieux is out there with Goulet and Claude Lemieux. Norman Rochefort and Ulf Samuelsson back on the blue line.
NHL talked about the Soviets moving around a lot in the face-off circle. They said they just didn't stand still. And they said Finn, the linesman, was getting frustrated by it. See how they're moving around in there?
Back to the line for Rochefort. Takes the shot, steered to the corner by Beloshakin. Kamalev tried to get it out. Couldn't move it. Tries again. Gets it to the line. To Nemchinov. To Priakin. Priakin couldn't go anywhere with it as it's dumped back out by Ulf Samuelsson. In the neutral zone now, Samuelsson with possession. Ahead for Mario Lemieux. He's checked as they battle for that loose puck in the neutral zone. Rochefort runs into Harmelov as it's fired in and deflected to the corner by Fuhr. Gusarov keeps it in at the point. A long shot. It's gloved by Grant Fuhr and held for a whistle.
Fuhr does the smartest thing he could. The Soviets have been very strong in this period in their own zone. Great condition is Grant Fuhr. I think his great conditioning allows his athletic ability to come to the forefront in the concentration levels there. We talked about an athlete. He's also a 3 handicap in golf. There he one times the body as the puck bounces into him, and he hangs on to it. He was smart. He had his body behind that catching hand when he made that save.
Team NHL bench looking on as the face-off takes place in Team NHL zone. Played around the boards and down the ice. Racing back after it is Fetisov, being watched by Hawerchuk. The Soviets unable to clear. Pulin in the corner. Tried to go out into the slot to Hawerchuk, and it was deflected down the ice by the Soviets. Green for Hawerchuk. He deflects it into the Soviet zone. Pulin is racing after it. He's taken in heavily against the boards by Fetisov. Played around to Makarov. He takes a hit from Hawerchuk, but Larionov starts out. He has Krutov with him. Fetisov going for the net. Drop pass for Makarov. Makarov tried to drop it off, and it was knocked out into the neutral zone by Dale Hawerchuk.
What we're seeing here is a game within a game. Larionov's line on the ice all night against Hawerchuk's line. The defensive pairings are the same for each team when they're on the ice. It's almost like a miniature game.
Here's a chance for Tikkanen. Shot, save, big rebound. And Curry was tied up, and Larionov brings it out to the neutral zone. Pass knocked down in Team NHL zone. Now Doug Wilson gets it again. Over to the other side to Ray Bourque. Bourque shoots it in. Stopped by Beloshakin. He leaves it back to the net for Tatarinov. Up to Lavrov. Lavrov being watched there by Curry. Got it ahead to Svetlov. To Seamak. He couldn't go anywhere with it. It's knocked into the Team NHL zone and then fired right back out with 9:28 remaining in the second period. The Soviets leading by a score of 2-1. Seamak now in across the line. To the corner for the Soviets. Taken in against the boards. The puck back of the net. Chelios comes up with it for Team NHL. Chelios for Wayne Gretzky on the fly. Gretzky working against Pervukin. Puts on the brakes. Gives it to Tikkanen. Tikkanen trying to move into the slot. Knocked off balance. Gets it to Curry. He tried to kick it to Gretzky, and it just went past him. Centered by Gretzky, and the Soviet defenseman Tatarinov was there, and as the Soviets ice it, the fans react here at the Colisee. This is the third time the Soviets have iced the puck in the second period. Rendezvous 87 returns after this.
I'm feeling great out in the sun. I'm ready to move, gonna have some fun. When I get hot, I can go all day. I build up a thirst along the way. I want to taste so clear and right. The lemon lime taste sensational strike. Strike. Lemon taste sensational. Strike. Get the sensation. Strike. Lemon taste sensation.
8:48 is the time remaining in the second period. 15,395 watching the action tonight at the Colisee. And wherever you're looking in across the CBC network, we hope you're enjoying this second game of Rendezvous 87 from Quebec City. Team NHL winning the opener by a score of 4-3. Back of the net. Soviets trying to move out. Anderson keeps it in. Kirk Muller back of the goal looking for Messier, and Messier was cutting right into the crease area as Beloshakin gloved it and held on.
The NHL Hockey Club are playing 4 sets of forwards, and they're rotating them right now. Ramsey, the defenseman, is not getting as much ice time as everybody else. They have 8 dressed, and they're playing 7 from what we can see to this point. Samuelson getting a little more ice time. Beloshakin, the fine young goaltender, looks on.
Face off to the right of Beloshakin. Loose puck. Gathered in by Starikov. He almost lost it in his own zone as he was looking up the ice for someone to pass it to. Anderson behind his back for Messier. Saved by Beloshakin. Excellent play by Anderson with Messier on the fly on that right side, and Beloshakin made a big save.
As soon as the Soviets scored in this period, this line centered by Messier has really picked up their tempo.
Back into the neutral zone. Kamensky lost the race to the puck to Bork. Muller knocks it into the corner. Starikov playing it around on the boards for Mayutov to Vikov. Vikov, very speedy individual to Hamayatov. A shot, and that went over top and out of play as it may have been deflected by Grant Fuhr. So the score holds at 2-1. This is Rendezvous 87 from Quebec City.
Times a minute of every day, someone somewhere chooses Esso No Trouble gasoline. Why? Because it cleans as you drive.
Beloshakin was the goaltender for the Soviets in the 86 World Championship. This ends up another good save off Mark Messier as he got in there. The 86 World Championship. He was the goaltender for the Soviets. 7 games. He only allowed 11 goals. That's a 1.57 goals against average. Rather low.
He was also named the outstanding goaltender at last year's World Junior Championship in Hamilton.
And they're going to announce an outstanding goaltender in this game, and it's between one of 2 people. It's between 2 people, Fuhr and Beloshakin.
Messier along the boards, fighting with Starikov. It goes loose to Bilyaletdinov. Knocks it around in the boards, but not out. Now the Soviets gain control. Priakin to Nemchinov. Nemchinov to Priakin. A shot that doesn't get through as it was blocked by the defenseman Rick Green. Mario Lemieux shooting it in. Goulet off the board, takes the shot. Beloshakin is down. 2 Soviet wingers coming back, crashed right into the net as they attempted to cover up that slot area. Here's Mario Lemieux. Getting set a shot, and he fired it wide. Goulet just failed to pick up that rebound off the end board. Back comes Gusarov. Gusarov to Makarov. Back to the line, a shot, the rebound. Gusarov saved by Grant Fuhr. What a great toe save off Gusarov. Chelios plays it off the boards out to the neutral zone. First team NHL coming close, and then the Soviets coming right back.
I like the idea of Lemieux shooting the puck high, even though he missed the net. Beloshakin's been dropping before NHL have been shooting the puck. and Lemieux tried to find the top corner, and then Grant Fuhrer, it was showtime at his end of the ice.
Kevin Dineen loses it along the boards. Larionov. He gives it to Kasatonov. Ahead to Makarov. The top line for the Soviets. It's amazing how that Fetisov will go right for the net. Here he is again, moving in. Centering it! What a great save by Grant Fuhrer off Krutov. Another shot, and that's deflected to the corner. Krutov tried to slide it out front, knocked down by Doug Wilson, and Team NHL goes to the attack. Ray Bork on the right side looking for Dineen, too far for him, and Krutov starts back to Svetlov. Svetlov stopped at the line. Fired down to the Soviet line where Fetisov loses it to Howardchuk, brought in to Tikkanen. Tikkanen winds up, fires a glide. Howardchuk in the corner, being tied up there by Fetisov. Howardchuk manages to come up with the puck. Howardchuk back to the point. Rick Green winds up. His shot is blocked by Lavrov, and it bounces all the way back into Team NHL territory. Picked off by Semak. Semak tied up by Green. Lavrov gets it. Lavrov checked by Tikkanen back of the net. And it's Rick Green sending Tikkanen away. He shoots it in. Picked up by Perbukin. Perbukin to Tatarinov. Around the boards to Svetlov. They don't even look when they bang it out of their own zone. They anticipate where those wingers will be. Team NHL now with Gretzky to the attack. And across the line, he has Tikkanen with him. Behind his back to Tikkanen. Back to Gretzky. Gretzky back of the Soviet goal. Allowed to walk out. A backhand shot went off Tatarinov. Center. Chelios took a swipe at it. The puck back of the net again. Gretzky out front, and the shot off Curry just goes wide. Norman Rochefort pinches in from the point, trying to keep it in, but the Soviets get control and fire it back into Team NHL territory.
Wayne Gretzky finding the soft spot. Behind the net it is.
There's a chance for Curry, and it was behind him. He couldn't quite pick it up. And it's dumped down the ice by the Soviets. This will produce an icing call with 3:58 left in the period. Live on CBC, Rendezvous 87.
There's a road 170,000 kilometers long stretching in front of the average car. And that's why Motomaster parts are what your car needs. Because Motomaster parts are built tough for the long run. And every Motomaster part is backed as tough as it's built. So no matter where in Canada your road takes you, Canadian Tire stands behind them. Down the long road, it's nice to know you've got more than a part. You've got a company. Motomaster parts. Built tough, backed tough.
Team NHL has been battling hard to get the equalizer after the Soviets went ahead on that goal by Krutov.
The both teams keep going, but what we see here, since the Soviets have taken the lead, is that they're trying to stay back and not force the play near as much. But we've seen matchups here, not only Howardchuk against Larionov, we're seeing Bykov against Messier. And as we mentioned, game one is a big difference in size of the two players. Glenn Anderson has had a real good second period.
Messier against Bykov. Gets the draw, back to the line. Bork fakes the shot. Gets it into Anderson, a shot right on, and Beloshakin made the save. Bykov out into the neutral zone. Lost it there, and Team NHL to the attack, led by Messier. It's dumped in. Starikov plays it around the boards for Kamensky. Kamensky to Bykov on the right side for Hamayutov. And as he cut in across the line to drop it for Bykov, they went offside.
At the end of the second period, we will talk with Dave Poulin of the Philadelphia Flyers, who scored the winning goal on Wednesday. And we'll talk with National Hockey League President John Ziegler. We're going to find out if we'll see another one of these series in the near future. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Once again, Don Whitman.
Dave Poulin, a very well-spoken Philadelphia Flyer who gets stronger as the game goes on. When he turned pro with Philadelphia, he weighed 165 pounds at Dave Poulin. He worked all summer with Bobby Clark on his upper body. He went up to 185, and that's how you see him play so strong, or that's why you see him play so strong against the Soviets.
Poulin wasn't a bad free agent signing by the Flyers. Kamensky dropped it into the slot, intercepted by Goulet. He starts out with Mario Lemieux, back to Goulet. Goulet with a fine move. And he was upset with a good body check by Sarakov as he split the defense and almost got through. 3:17 is the time lapse.
This is the beginning. The all-new Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Beauty with a passion for driving. Advanced front-wheel drive traction. Positive response suspension. Electronic fuel injection. The thrust of turbo power. And a world of comfort inside. All with a Chrysler Protection Plan. The new LeBaron Coupe from Chrysler. Best built, best backed.
Michel Goulet with a good rush on the part of Team NHL.
Goulet, whose idol is Bobby Hull, tries a little fancy stick work, but he had the hip taken to him, and Belosheikin covered up. All three forwards went to the net looking for a rebound.
Sarakov, who was a member of that Soviet Olympic gold medal winning team in '84, is the man who checked him. Goulet tries again. It comes back to the point. A shot by Chelios, a weak one. Back to the net, a wide open goal. And they couldn't get it back to the point. Now it comes back and it's fired wide by Rochefort. Mario Lemieux back to the point. To Goulet. Back at the line. Rochefort unable to keep it in, and Chelios goes back into his own zone.
The first game, the NHL club scored goals in the goal crease of Belosheikin. In this game, you're seeing the Soviets do a pretty good job trying to control that area.
Goulet leaves it for Claude Lemieux. Back to the net for Mario Lemieux out front, and he tries the wraparound play and just missed on the far side. Green with the shot. That hit Lemieux in front. He goes into the corner, taken in against the boards by Kucherov out front. And Michel Goulet could not get a stick on it as Belosheikin covered up.
There you see once again the Soviets controlling that crease area. Goulet tried to get to the loose puck. He couldn't. Mario Lemieux tried to wrap around with his reach. The wraparound was almost started from behind the goal line. He just barely missed. That may be his best shift of the series. Now watch Lemieux trying to set up behind the net. Goulet's in front. See how he's taken down right away or covered up. He doesn't have that stick loose to be able to get to the puck. Not only the Soviets taking the body in that area, but they're reaching out and grabbing the National Hockey League player's stick. Therefore, you can't get to those loose pucks. Lemieux's got a younger brother that belongs to the Pittsburgh organization, older brother, belonging to the Pittsburgh organization, playing in the American League. And the general manager, Ed Johnson, said today he may be called up. He's quite a scorer. The only problem is he plays center. And if he's going to play behind Mario, he might not get a lot of ice time.
A busy weekend for Mario Lemieux as Belosheikin takes the rest, something that Mario Lemieux will not be able to do as Pittsburgh plays Vancouver tomorrow night. Then on Sunday, Pittsburgh travels to New York to take on the Rangers. 3 games in 3 days.
They are not allowed to do that during the regular season. That's against the Constitution of the Players Association.
From the face-off, a shot from the point by Rick Green sails up into the crowd. While we have a moment, a reminder that this program is copyright and restricted for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
And that was the reach of Mario Lemieux from behind the net. One thing that National Hockey League players have a lot of problems with is they say he doesn't skate as quick as other players, but he has that reach. He keeps everybody at bay.
In the neutral zone, Poulin shoots it back in. Denisov goes in after it, along with Kevin Dineen. The two of them continue that battle, the loose puck. With Howardchuk trying to dig it out, he does come up with it, takes a backhand shot high over top of the Soviet goal. Picked up now by Kasatonov. As the Soviets come out, led by Larionov, he drops it at the line, and it is knocked out by Poulin. Poulin and Kasatonov battling along the boards. Finally, it comes back into Team NHL territory, and Rick Green plays it off the boards into the Soviet zone as Team NHL makes the complete change. Up on the right side for Fetisov, he shoots it into Team NHL territory. Raymond Bork is back there after it for Team NHL. For Yari Curry. Curry drives it in. Picked up by Lavrov, who clears the zone. 1:08 is the time left in the second period. 2-1 the Soviets lead. Sazarinov around the boards through Lavrov, and it slides all the way out to the neutral zone.
The Soviets in game one, as soon as the NHL had control of the puck, they just went after them. 3-4 players. In this game, when Team NHL have the puck, only one man's going to them, and the rest of the Soviets are staying spread out. And it's a complete reversal from their style in the opening game of the series.
Team NHL appears to be changing its strategy, shooting it in more than it did in game one.
Yeah, they are, and that's what's happened because the Soviets are spread out so much. In game one, if you remember, when the Soviets all went and overloaded one side of the ice, the NHL players would fire the puck across, and there'd be a man open. Now that man isn't open because he's being closely guarded, and that's the biggest strategy difference that I've seen. If there's any single player on the ice that has picked up his play from game one, it's Fetisov, the captain, the defenseman. He's been much, much better. He was battered around in that opening game.
48 seconds left in the period. 2-1, the Soviets lead it. It was 1-0 after 20 minutes. From the face-off, Bykov directs the shot towards the goal. Played around on the boards, but not out, and now Glenn Anderson takes a swipe at a puck. It bounces high. Anderson played it, and it's whistled down as it was hit with a high stick, apparently.
Glenn Anderson and the other members of the Edmonton Oilers wanted to say hello to got some friends of theirs that are watching tonight. One, Willie DeWitt, who's in Regina. He's got a big, big boxing match tomorrow against Bert Cooper. And a couple of other friends in the entertainment business, David Foster and Alan Fick, who are in Los Angeles watching on their private satellite system. Watching CBC.
Both Foster and Fick were here as part of the big gala the other night that drew raves from everyone who attended.
The city, the hospitality has been wonderful here in Quebec City. It's been a very, very enjoyable week.
That gala, by the way, will be featured on an upcoming CBC television special. An icing call as the face-off will go back to Team NHL territory with 27 seconds left.
So we see Mark Messier taking all these defensive face-offs. He takes them on both sides of the ice, Don. It's interesting, his theory is discipline over emotion. And Mark Messier walked around to each player before game one in the dressing room and said to them individually, play well tonight, play with discipline over emotion. And that's one thing that I think has changed in Mark Messier's style over the years. He plays with a lot more discipline.
He emerged as one of the team leaders in that Team NHL dressing room. Kamensky scores! He was allowed to walk out from the corner, and he picked the far side on Grant Fuhr with just 19 seconds left in the period.
Big goal for the Soviets. They got to the loose puck, and Kamensky, we mentioned the rising star for this hockey club, said hello, and then he said goodbye to Rick Green. He moved in, and we'll watch right there as he went around the defenseman Green. Now he's allowed to walk in, and he finds that hole through the legs of Grant Fuhr. Wasn't quite sure what was going to happen on the play. Watch till they get to the loose puck. Messier got to the puck to the boards, but it was Kamensky that got away from Rick Green, and in he came. He made the play because the other defenseman was sliding across. He had no choice but to shoot it because Fuhr had his legs open.
So the Soviets lead Team NHL by 2 goals. The Soviets came back from a 2-goal deficit in game one. That's the task now facing Team NHL. All 3 goals in the second period by the Soviets, 2 of them by Kamensky, the other by Krutov. And so the score at the end of the second period is the Soviet Union 3, Team NHL 1.
Michael Cutler is my boy.
I'm coming to get him. The talk is over. Now the action begins. Stallone over the top.
Now playing at a theater near you.
The World at 6, As It Happens, and on Mondays, Inside Track.
CBC Radio. For the enlightened mind.
Which bank, trust, or insurance company do more Canadians choose for their RSP? Canada Trust. #1 in RSPs because we've earned it. with great rates and interest from day of deposit. Instant RSP loans and instant tax receipts. Wide investment choice, including our new T-bill certificates. And convenience. We're open Saturdays and 8 to 8, Monday to Friday. Canada Trust, #1 in RSPs, because we've earned it.
What a great day! Don't you love it? It's perfect! And it'll be this way for months! Whoopee!
If this isn't your idea of a good time,
More snow!
US Air can take you away from it all to the sunny skies of Florida or Arizona. You can even take advantage of our low vacation fares. So call US Air or your travel consultant today. And don't be left out in the cold.
It's back at the Brick. No down payment, no interest until 1989 on all home furnishings and until 1988 on a wide selection of televisions and video recorders, like this 20-inch fully automatic color television. Make no down payment, just 11 payments of only $27. Total price just $297, and you pay absolutely no interest at all. Ever. Hurry, final weekend.
CBC News with Milton Nash. Good evening. Here are some of the stories we're following tonight for the National. Minister of State Roch LaSalle says he had no idea business people paid $5,000 just to meet with him. He calls himself the victim of uncontrollable events. Prime Minister Mulrooney says when he heard about the expensive meetings, he promptly ordered an inquiry. In Parliament, the government honors an election pledge on the death penalty. Deputy Prime Minister Don Mazankowski announces a free vote on hanging. Hundreds of jobs are saved at Cisco Steel. Premier John Buchanan is jubilant over a big deal with CN Rail. 2 UN trucks are shot up as they try to get food to people who are starving in a besieged Palestinian refugee camp. And Soviet security agents again beat up human rights demonstrators. 2 women are among those injured and detained. We'll have more news later tonight on the National and on the Journal. Now, back to Rendezvous 87.
All right, thank you, Milton Nash. Kaminsky had 2 of the goals, Krutov the other for the Soviet Union in that second period. 3-1 for the Soviets after 2 periods of play. Dave Poulin, the fine center. He also plays some left wing, E.J. McGuire tells me, with the Philadelphia Flyers, graduate of the University of Notre Dame, where they're better known for football.
Much better known for football. I was born up in Timmins in the Great White North in Ontario, but I grew up in Toronto and I managed to get down to Notre Dame on a scholarship.
At the top of the show, briefly, you explained you're known for your defensive ability with the Flyers, yet you and line mate Kevin Dineen accounted for 50% of the scoring on Wednesday night.
Well, we matched up against the big KLM line on Wednesday night, and what happens is there's such an offensive structured line that if you do create turnovers, you're usually going to get some pretty good offensive chances, and we got a couple, and actually we could have had a couple more goals.
They are called, this KLM, Krutov, Larionov, and Makarov, the best line in the world. Are they the best line in the world?
They're pretty darn good, I'll tell you what. They throw the puck around very well, and you're never going to stop them completely, but you've just got to try and slow them down, because I think most of the team reflects off of what they do, and if they see their big line, as it's known, you know, one of the top lines in the world, shut down, they think, oh no, if that line can get shut down, then we're in real trouble, and so you try and get them off their game.
I remember talking with Wayne Gretzky at the end of the first period on Wednesday. He was surprised the Soviets weren't more physical. Are they more physical tonight?
I think they're waiting to see what we're going to do. They're a little more physical, but I think really they're waiting to see, especially on Wednesday night, the type of game we were going to play, and then they try to react off of that.
What did they do differently in the second period?
I don't really think anything too much. They got a couple of scoring chances, and they capitalized on them, and because of the way they play, they're going to create scoring opportunities, but Grant Fuhr's come up big, and he's made some big saves, and we've had some equally good scoring chances and haven't capitalized.
Tell our viewers what it's like to come here as one of the younger players. You only get a couple of days practice. How nervous were you? When did you settle down? Have you been able to sleep?
Yeah, I have been able to sleep because we've been working pretty hard at it. It was very serious from the day I walked in on Monday, and you could tell, and the credit there goes to the older guys. Guys like Messier and Gretzky and Dougie Wilson, Rod Langway, guys that have been here before, and they set the pace for the younger guys, and they more or less eased us into it both on and off the ice. Really made it easy and a very enjoyable week.
Tell us about the coaching staff. Perron, Johnson, and Bergeron, to me, have done a first-rate job with such a short period of time.
They have, and they've kept it very simple. They've done a great job, but they could have got very technical. On this day of video, we could have sat and watched videos for 2 straight days, and they could have got so technical because of the way they play, but really they kept it simple and they let us play hockey.
Would you like to do this again? I know viewers tonight are saying, we don't want to see Wales and Campbell's next year, we want to see this again. It's probably not practical next year. John Ziegler's coming up. But as a player, would you like to do it again?
It's been a great experience. It's been terrific. I haven't heard one negative thing from a player, and I think everybody's 100% positive. I realize the work that went into it from the people in Quebec and the people in Canada, but as players, we've enjoyed it tremendously.
You know what impressed me about you players before the first game Wednesday was you were saying there will be no excuses. If we got blown away 7-0 in that first game Wednesday, for once we're not going to make any excuses. It was a different attitude here.
Well, it really was. It was a strong attitude, and once again, it goes to the guys that have been here before. And there's some pretty good leadership over in that locker room from 22 different guys. They've all got different styles, but everybody's been a leader.
Where do you go from here?
I'm off to St. Louis about 10 minutes after the game tonight. We're flying out in our owner's plane right straight to St. Louis, so we've got a busy schedule. We play tomorrow night in St. Louis. But some of the Hartford guys have to go to L.A., so.
I know Kevin Dineen is, I think, flying on a charter to Toronto with Wayne Gretzky tonight. Good luck in the third period. What do you have to do differently in this third period?
Just go right after them. We controlled about 8-minute stretch, 7-minute stretch of that second period. Before they came back and got that last goal, we're going to pick up right where we left off.
All right, Dave, stay healthy for the rest of the season. Thank you. Good luck in the third period. Dave Poulin of the Philadelphia Flyers, the USSR, out in front by a score of 3-1. Our second intermission continues in just a minute. Stay with us, folks.
There's just one thing that makes someone a winner. It's an attitude. You've got to want to win. That's why you choose an investment professional like Wood Gundy. A winning attitude.
Get ready, get going. It won't stay long. Get that bold new taste before it's gone. McDonald's Center Bell. Head for that beef, a quarter pound on a toasted dry bun, nothing like it around. McDonald's Center Bell. With cheddar sauce, grilled onions too. A big bowl taste from McDonald's to you. For a limited time, just $1.59. It's a good time for the great taste.
Cheddar melt.
McDonald's, just till March 1st.
Jack Burns is a United States Marine. For honor, he'll obey the rules.
We will do this one by the book, Sergeant.
For his country, he'll break them.
This isn't your war.
It is now.
Paul Winfield, Joanna Pakula, Brian Keith, and starring Fred Dreyer. Death Before Dishonor.
Opening soon at a Cineplex Odeon theater near you.
Make way for the new generation of pickups. All-new Dodge Dakota, North America's first mid-size pickup. Dakota handles like a small pickup. Room for 3 inside and full-size payload capacity. Plus, the pulling power and performance of a V6 engine. Mid-size Dakota, the only 4-wheel drive with Dodge's Ram Top Warranty protection.
Make way for Dodge Dakota! Make way!
Dodge, the official trucks of the NHL.
Welcome back to the Colisée in Quebec City. National Hockey League President John Ziegler joins me. Before talking about this game and possible future series, what about the Pat Quinn situation? The appeal, I believe, was heard or ruled on today here in Quebec City.
The Board of Governors on the appeal affirmed the President's decision with respect to the order and the penalties imposed.
All right, John, and again, as you saw it, a definite conflict of interest there.
Well, it's something that I really shouldn't be commenting on because there's still other appeals that are going on, Brian.
Okay, let's get to the game tonight.
The game, yeah.
Your impressions of not only the first 2 periods tonight, but the first game on Wednesday, too.
Well, I think the competition at the game level is probably the highest that I've seen. And take your pick of either team. Who makes the mistake is probably going to cost themselves a goal. And the game's being played at probably the highest level of intensity that it can be played.
All right, you said it's the best competition you've ever seen. I know you people at home are saying, ask them, ask them. Are we going to see another one of these in the near future?
Well, you see the Canada Cup, at which it really is played at a high level. It's not condensed quite as much, and in some respects it gives the players and the coaches time to strategize a little more and even show a little bit more of their skills. As to another rendezvous or an all-star type of thing, we did a Challenge Cup. It was great, except we lost. We're doing this. It's been a great week. Compliment to Marcel Abou. But it is an extremely difficult thing. It took the federal government, the provincial government, the city of Quebec, and an organization of 150 people to put this on. We're not equipped to do that every year, and it's very difficult. But periodically, hopefully we can do it.
All right, periodically means what, 3 years from now?
No, I think that you have to look 4, 5, 6 years out. It takes that much effort and time.
All right, John, what about the All-Star format? It is going to be different or difficult for Wales and Campbell's. After the show put on here this year in Quebec City, there's been a lot of talk about changing the All-Star format in the National Hockey League.
Brian, it's mainly that talk comes from the media folks.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
No, and go to any All-Star city that's had the All-Star game, and it's a pride to their city. They get involved with it, and it's really just a showcase of our top players. And it's kind of it's not our regular kind of competition event.
Right.
The players get to play at a little different speed. They get to do a little more of their fancy things, and it's a special event in itself. But every city that has such great pride, we've sold out every All-Star game since the memory of man here. So I don't think you'll see too much change.
What about the format, John, though? Would you maybe go back to the defending Stanley Cup champions, say, against the rest of the league?
Now, one of the reasons being that they don't want to take the risk of the injury to the players and putting them into a competition that really is just a showpiece, an exhibition at that time. Because whether you're the Stanley Cup champion, or the runner-up, or whatever it may be, you still have another 40 or 35 games to play, which is very important to you. So there isn't a great deal of enthusiasm to put it into that kind of intense competition.
We must congratulate Marcel Abou, also yourself in the National Hockey League. I'm talking with writers from Washington, New York, Los Angeles, Canadian writers that have been to Super Bowls. They say, boy, this week is right up there with the Super Bowl. It has been first class on and off the ice.
Well, Marcel Abou deserves credit, as does the city of Quebec and the province, and in fact this country. This has been a celebration not just of hockey, but of cultures and the arts. And there's such great friendships, and it's really of the three cultures. We're just proud to be part of it, and I guess we're the core of it with our two great hockey games.
You are indeed. John Ziegler, thank you, the president of the National Hockey League. We must congratulate the players. We talk about selfish pro athletes in the 1980s. These fellas have come here for something like $1,000 apiece. They're flying all night to play again tomorrow night. We salute the NHL players. Stay with us. Rendezvous 87 live on CBC will continue from Quebec City.
The essence of bobsledding. The new sled feels like gliding on silk. The essence of shaving. This is new Atra Plus, an incredible advance in Gillette shaving smoothness. The Plus is the unique lubricating strip that glides the razor effortlessly. You never felt anything smoother. New Atra Plus by Gillette. The essence of shaving.
The person next door. Around here we know our game. Play to win, 'cause we're keeping score. And our beer around here is OB. OB, my friend. You know our beer around here is OB.
Around here, our beer is OB.
Take me back where I belong. Take me where this heart was born. Just take me as I am and let me stay. Take me home. Could you take me home? Never matters how far I go. Could you take me home?
I told him, son, gas isn't just gas anymore. Today you need a gas that cleans. Why? It's simple. Fuel injectors and carburetors get dirty. The new no-trouble gasoline from Esso cleans as you drive. And it's in all our pumps.
Thanks, Dad.
No trouble, son. I told him.
And now, replay brought to you by Apple and authorized Apple dealers throughout Canada.
Team NHL had a power play opportunity in the first period, and it didn't take them long to capitalize. Wayne Gretzky goes back of the net. Yari Curry out to Mark Messier. He didn't get good wood on it, but it deflected off the stick of Krutov and between the legs of Evgeny Beloshakin for a 1-0 lead. The Soviets came back in period 2. Kamensky picks the far corner as Team NHL had difficulty in clearing the zone. It was tied at 3:13. And just 2 minutes and 4 seconds later, watch number 2, Fetisov, get involved in the play. To Krutov, and he puts it past Grant Fuhr, the first time in the series that the Soviets have held the lead. And then a demoralizing goal with just 19 seconds left in the period. Kamensky comes out from the corner and slides it between the legs of Grant Fuhr for a 3-1 Soviet lead over Team NHL.
Replay brought to you by Apple and authorized Apple dealers throughout Canada.
This man represents one of the most famous computer companies in the world. Universally respected by its customers for security and reliability. It's the only computer company in Canada that offers a full 1-year warranty and the security of extended warranty protection on every product that bears its symbol. The company, if you haven't already guessed, you guessed it. And the warranty is called Apple Care.
You're about to see the difference between an ordinary electric kettle and Black & Decker's boil and off kettle. The one that won't forget to shut itself off, even if you do. 5 seconds to boil and off. Enough time to tell you that Black & Decker kettles have a 2-year warranty. The boil and off difference. It boils, then it's off within 30 seconds. The other will steam on until it's dry. Worry-free, convenient boil and off with push-button restart. Another powerhouse innovation from Black & Decker.
On Venture this week, meet the people of the business world, taking the risks, doing the work, making and losing the money. Sunday night, following Sunday Report.
Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada, fresh from Rendezvous 87, Dale Hawerchuk rejoins the Winnipeg Jets as they play at the Montreal Forum against the Canadiens. And some of you will watch Terry O'Reilly's Boston Bruins in Toronto against the Maple Leafs. Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada. Welcome back to Quebec City. Kamensky at 3:13, then the KLM line. Krutov from Larionov and Fetisov. Kamensky with his second goal. The NHL now with an edge in shots on goal. They trailed by 1 after the first period. You heard Dave Poulin of the Philadelphia Flyers say he is flying all night to St. Louis on a private charter. Wayne Gretzky, many of the players going to Toronto tonight, then flying out to Edmonton in the morning. Kevin Dineen and Alt Samuelson are leaving here on a charter right after this game, flying into Toronto, sleeping for a couple of hours at the airport, then flying to Los Angeles. So they've really made a sacrifice. Once again, Don Whitman and John Davidson.
Well, John Davidson is also flying out right after the game. But, John, will that Canadian team be able to come out flying to start the third period?
It'll be interesting to see what head coach John Perron is going to do. Will he shorten his bench? They did not play Ramsey very much in that second period. They went with 7 defensemen. But will they shorten their bench and try to take chances offensively and then rely on the play of Grant Fuhr? The Soviets are playing a quick game here. They're playing a game where in the second period they had possession of the puck quite a bit. Beloshakin was very good. And, hey, they've got to go for it early.
Team NHL trailing by 2 as Mark Messier gets the draw back into his own zone to Rod Langway. Green lost it, but Anderson trailing the play, spins around to Messier, who returns the pass, and Anderson dumps it in and races in after it, along with Michel Goulet. A line change here on the part of Team NHL. Kasatonov now picking it up in his own zone, ahead to Larionov. He leaves it for Makarov. Makarov shot saved by Grant Fuhr. Big rebound, and Krutov just failed to get a stick on it as he was checked by Glenn Anderson. Anderson unable to get it out. Fetisov went rink wide, intended for Makarov. It was too far for him, and Langway clears the zone. Team NHL making a change as Svetlov gets it ahead to Krutov. A return pass to Svetlov, but he was tied up by Doug Wilson. And Raymond Bourque looking for Gretzky in the neutral zone. Saw it bounce off Gretzky's stick. Now Team NHL gets it back. Gretzky in across the line. Gretzky getting set, a shot, and that was just deflected wide. Tikkanen lets it go back to the line to Doug Wilson. His shot sails wide. Bourque at the other point. He dumps it into the corner. Pervukin plays it around the boards for Lavrov, and it's deflected down the ice as Esa Tikkanen retreats after it for Team NHL. He leaves it there for Raymond Bourque of the Boston Bruins. Bourque lead pass for Tikkanen. In across the line, Tikkanen tries to dump it for Curry. Curry couldn't do anything but flip it into the corner. Tikkanen trying to force the play. Starikov comes up with it, and the Soviets move it out. For Kamensky, who scored 2 goals in that second period, a rising star for this Soviet team. Kamensky gets it again and fed it over on the wing, and the shot by Hamayutov, and Grant Pure made the save. Team NHL to the attack, led by Gretzky, puts on the brakes, looking out for Norman Rochefort, and I think that went off the end of the stick of the goaltender Belichick, and another drive just goes wide. A great chance for Team NHL to move within 1 goal as Gretzky set up Rochefort.
That was only the 4th shot by NHL defenseman in this hockey game, and it was a very good one. That was also, for Wayne Gretzky, his longest shift of the hockey game. He benefits with lots of ice time.
Mario Lemieux moving into the slot, tried to drop it for Poulin. It was intercepted by the Soviets, and they bring it back. Ilya Letdinov takes the shot. That Pure flips to the corner. And Poulin has it now behind his own net. Another line change as Poulin is out there with Lemieux. Claude Lemieux of Montreal and Mario Lemieux of Pittsburgh. Stryakin lets a blast go high over the glass and out of play. From Quebec City, this is Rendezvous 87 on CBC.
About Grant Pure's lateral movement in this series. Beloshakin with great lateral movement. Gretzky knows Rochefort's moving in. Oh, this is the other play before that when Gretzky tried to set up 2 men in front. Here's the lateral movement. And boy, oh boy, he got across. He got his shoulder, or perhaps the shaft of his stick on that puck. Great goaltending early in the 3rd period by Beloshakin.
Is Beloshakin challenging a little more in this game than he did in Game 1?
The talk is the Soviet Union play a different game when they're ahead, Don. And when they're ahead 3-1, it's easier to play goal no matter what league you're in.
Fetisov, long lead pass. He was looking for Krutov. Too far. Wilson goes back into his own zone. Wilson for Deneen. With Howardchuk and Messier. As the coaches have certainly juggled people around, a collision in the corner. And Deneen went sprawling. As it's brought back out by the Soviets, the pass picked off by Bourque, who plays it over to Doug Wilson. To Raymond Bourque. He drives it in. Howardchuk leaves it for Messier. Messier tried to go around Krutov. It was knocked away from him. Kasatonov gets it up to Pervukin, and it's knocked into the neutral zone. It bounced away from Bourque. Makarov moving in. A shot saved by Grant Pure. He tried to go low to the stick side.
He was being cut off by Rochefort, who made a good play, so he had to shoot at it from a bad angle.
Messier for Team NHL centers it. Tikkanen just failed to jam it. Puck goes to the corner. Gretzky gets it. Gretzky for Messier. Messier tried to go across ice to Chelios, who was racing in from the point. It deflected off a Soviet all the way back into Team NHL territory. Now it's Tikkanen. Rink wide for Gretzky. Gretzky couldn't get away from Tazarinov, and Pervukin in his own zone. Moves out slowly as the Soviets make some changes. He sees that change is taking place, and he circles back into his own zone until his teammates get on the ice. Gretzky unable to control it at center ice. Kamensky at the line, checked by Rod Langway. Rink wide pass for Gretzky. Gretzky dumps it back into his own zone. Tikkanen has lost his stick, has to go to the bench. Here's Gretzky moving in. Tried to dump it into the slot area to Yari Curry. It was broken up by the Soviets. Kamensky is checked by Ray Bork, who got back quickly. Now it's Curry circling, firing it over to Ray Bork. 14:35 left in the period. Bork gains the blue line, flips it to an open wing, and the Soviets start back. Here's a breakaway for Bykov. Bykov behind his back, the pass. Great save off Kamensky by Grant Fuhr. Kamensky going for the hat trick. Bykov took the check to set up the play for the breakaway of Kamensky. And Grant Fuhr, great. Rendezvous 87 continues in a moment.
You know the look, you know the name, you know the taste, there's nothing better. Coke, the taste is smooth, the taste is irresistible. Coke is the name, yeah. Coke is the taste, Coke is the one, there's nothing better. Coke, 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 Coke. Catch the wave, Coke.
Kamensky tried to put the game out of reach, and Grant Fuhr stayed with him. Bykov is going to take a check right there from Wilson, and Bykov made the play. Now Grant Fuhr stayed with him, kept his hand up away from his goal pad. Kamensky couldn't believe it. Look at Grant Fuhr keep his hands out away from his body, away from his pad, and he had it in the right place. A sensational save for Team NHL. Face off to the right of Grant Fuhr. The draw comes back to Gusarov. He shoots it into the corner. Picked up by Amailev. For Priakin. Priakin moving into the slot. A shot that's steered to the corner by Fuhr. Soviets with that constant movement in Team NHL territory. Samuelson's first shift on defense in this period. Here's a 2-on-1. Mario Lemieux with his strength, unable to get the shot away, but there's going to be a penalty coming up against the Soviets, and it will be Nemchinov going to the penalty box. So a power play for Canada.
In a world of cars, one stands out, en route. It's honored by airlines worldwide, major hotels, car rentals, and fine restaurants. En route is more than a card. It's a travel management system designed specifically for people going places for business or pleasure. And En route offers savings at hotels and car rental agencies. En route, the card for people going places. Your travel agent has all the details.
Nemchinov in the penalty box. The NHL had a 2-on-1. Mario Lemieux draws a lot of penalties by leaning into the opposition. See him lean in to the other player. He tried a one-handed shot, and the penalty was called. Now, the Soviet player who took the penalty went over to the bench, and Tikhonov, the coach, was just yelling at him. It's a 3-1 hockey game, and his team took a penalty. Tikhonov looking on as Team NHL enjoys the manpower advantage. Makarov to Krutov. Krutov circling in the neutral zone. They're all over the ice, weaving and circling to the attack now with Fetisov. Fetisov controlling that puck. And Team NHL can't seem to get it away from the Soviets. Krutov skating back into his own zone, being watched by Gretzky. They've done an excellent job of killing off over 30 seconds of this penalty to Team NHL. You have to admire that play. That was skill at the highest level and just good, smart, disciplined hockey. Pass intended for Gretzky, broken up at the line. Team NHL is forced to retreat into its own zone to regroup. And they had to make a change. They're tired of chasing the Soviets. That's some kind of a play. 1 minute left now remaining in the penalty to the Soviet Union. Team NHL unable to gain control in the Soviet zone. And again, they have to retreat into their own territory to set something up. Unlike their power play in Game 1, they have had definite problems here in Game 2, although they did cash in the first time they had the manpower advantage. Goulet leaves it for Gretzky. Gretzky back to Wilson, he scores! They finally gained the blue line. They finally got inside the Soviet zone, and they were able to set up. Goulet's the man that gained the zone. Goulet's the man that left the puck for Gretzky now. Again, a defenseman making a play, and he found the spot. What else is new? Through the legs of Beloshakin. It's just a quick shot by Doug Wilson. He didn't even take a real good look before he shot. He knew he was close. He knew he wanted to get a good shot and away quickly, and it goes through the legs of Beloshakin. Both goals that they have scored in this game have been through the legs of the Soviet netminder.
Doug Wilson, noted for his big shot with the Chicago Blackhawks, doesn't really have many opportunities to unload in this series against the Soviets.
The defensemen have not shot the puck. The defensemen, that's the fifth shot that they've had this game, and twice it's been because they've joined the play in the slot area.
Offside at the line is Svetlov, the official on the goal for Team NHL. Their second power play tally, Doug Wilson from Gretzky and Goulet at 7:33.
They gained the blue line. They got inside the zone fine. You know, watch where the guys go towards the net. Goulet's already dropped it off. Now Gretzky waits to draw a man to him to open up the slot. That's where Wilson got to, and he released it quickly. And Beloshakin off balance on the play. Gretzky delayed just to draw the man to him, which opened the slot.
Kulin in the corner. Leaves it back to the net for Howard-Chuck right out in front, and Deneen couldn't get a stick on it. Aggressive forechecking on the part of Howard-Chuck, Deneen, and Kulin almost resulted in the tying goal.
We'll see the work here from behind the net. Beloshakin seems to be shaky using that goal stick. A number of times he's had trouble stopping passes coming from behind the net. That time he covered up as quickly as possible. He was the best goaltender in the Calgary Cup. He's on his knee again, shaking his head. Can't believe what's going on. One thing that these people are not used to is the emotions that they play with in the National Hockey League, and now that team is going to have to use those emotions to try and get this third period over for their side.
Many people had speculated prior to these two games getting underway that emotion would be a big factor in favor of Team NHL.
They have a one-goal hockey game now. Let's watch. Messier trying to intimidate the other team's center right here. Ron Finn has removed him now. He was the man in the penalty box during that last power play goal.
Ilya Letzinov into the face-off circle against Messier. Messier wins the draw. Back to the line. A shot by Samuelson is blocked. Nemchinov gets it to the line, but not out. Claude Lemieux keeps it in, battling for it along the board. Finally, it's knocked away from him. Team NHL back into the center ice area. They fire it in, and the Soviets dump it right back out and down the ice with Rod Langway retreating.
The Soviets surprised you. That was Billy Aletnikov that took the face-off. He's a defenseman. You'll never see that happen in the National Hockey League.
Lemieux shoots it in. Mario Lemieux racing after it. Beloshakin got there first. Claude Lemieux keeps it in. It goes to the corner, but the Soviets gain control, and they start back with 11:18 remaining in the period. Larionov behind his back to Makarov. Makarov cross ice looking for Fetisov. It bounced away from him, and Team NHL goes to the attack again, led by Samuelson. He shoots it in and then runs into Larionov, sending him flying. Puck back of the net. Dug out a shot. Just fired wide by the defenseman, by Claude Lemieux. As it goes to the corner, it's picked up by Mario Lemieux. He centered it. There's nobody there. And the Soviets bring it back. Larionov dropping it for Krutov. He tried to get it back. He scores! He was looking initially for Larionov. The pass did not get through. The puck came back to him, and he fired it in.
This whole play started with Lemieux throwing the puck blind down at the Soviet end of the ice. When he threw it blind, the Soviets got control. He didn't have to do that. They got control. They came down the ice. And the Soviets get a break because they pick up a deflection off of Raymond Bourque. They try to pass the puck here, move it across, and it hits Bourque, but they get it back. They stay with it. And when that little fake play where Bourque had to go off the skate accidentally, that throws Grandsfuhr. And we'll see this. Grandsfuhr is thinking pass. He thinks this man is going to move it back to the other Soviet player wide open. And now he's caught. He's trying to get back. He can't do it quick enough.
Second goal of the game for Krutov at 9:19 from Larionov, and it's a two-goal advantage again for the Soviets over Team NHL. Gary Curry with a shot. That almost handcuffed Bello Shaken. It dropped between his legs, and he went down to his knees to prevent Tikkanen from wrapping it past him. Rendezvous 87 returns after this.
There's a road 170,000 kilometers long stretching in front of the average car. And that's why Motomaster parts are what your car needs. Because Motomaster parts are built tough for the long run. And every Motomaster part is backed as tough as it's built. So no matter where in Canada your road takes you, Canadian Tire stands behind them. Down the long road, it's nice to know you've got more than a part. You've got a company. Motomaster parts. Built tough, backed tough.
We may be able to see the play where Grant Fuhr thinks that this is going to be a pass. And we'll watch. He thinks it's going to go back across to the Soviet player who's open. There's Grant Fuhr keying on him. Now he has to get back across. And a very, very accurate shot by Krutov, his second goal in the series.
From the face-off, Gretzky attempted to center it. It was intercepted by the Soviets, and they clear. Yari Curry. For Rochefort, he shoots it in. At the line, Curry keeps it in. It comes around on the boards. Rochefort pinching in from the point. Managed to keep it in, but the Soviets now gain control, and they bring it back. We've reached the midway point of period 3. Bikov over to Kadmutov, and Grant Fuhr made a big save on that one as the Soviet player attempted to pick it out of the air on the rebound.
I think that was Bikov, the small player. You can see he's got some skills. Boy, oh boy, he found that puck right about 3 feet off the air, and Fuhr had to make the save.
Seamack into the corner for Svetlov. Back to the line. Tatarinov takes the shot. It bounces in front of goaltender Fuhr, then back to the point. Tatarinov winds up again, and that one just went wide. Lavrov was there looking for the deflection. Gretzky steals it. Cross ice to Curry. Curry back to Gretzky. It bounced away from him. Chelios goes to the corner, tried to center it. It went off a player. Gretzky has it in the corner to Curry. Quick shot, and the save by Bello Shaken as the Soviets clear with 9:06 left in the game. Two-line pass as the play is whistled down against Team NHL.
That last goal where Krutov scored. Let's watch Mario Lemieux. He gets the puck here, and he's not really forced. He throws it blind behind his back. That's the turnover. The Soviets got control, and they came out of their zone. This is what sets up the play. You talk about puck possession, how important it is when you play the Soviets. They didn't have to turn the puck over there. The Soviets took advantage of it.
Well, that's something that Team NHL talked about in preparing for this series, was puck control by their side as well. Quick shot. Kamailev let that blast go, and it was stopped by Raymond Bourque. Now Doug Wilson gets it cross ice to Bourque. Bourque in on the wing for Glenn Anderson. Anderson taken out of the play by Vilya Latinov. Kevin Dineen is bumped. Wilson centers it, and Kulin was tied up by Gusarov. Bourque battling along the boards with Fryakin and Nemchinov. And finally, the Soviets get control and dump it down the ice for an icing call against the Soviet Union.
Boy, have we seen fun, exciting hockey in this series. It's been super. This is Rendezvous 87 from Quebec City.
There's a powerful new reason to drive a Chrysler Magic Wagon. Front-wheel drive V6 power, fuel-injected power. And this is what V6 power is all about. The power to climb, to pass, to tow, to pull you through the toughest winter with front-wheel drive V6 power. And you're protected for 7 years or 115,000 kilometers. Powerfully new Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager. Best built right here in Canada and best backed.
8:25 is the time left to play. Mario Lemieux is out there with Goulet, and they've got Dale Hawerchuk playing the wing.
They're thinking offense. That's the reason. They will shorten their bench and use their best offensive players when they trail by 2 goals. Take chances. The defensemen have done a good job for NHL by moving in. And Lemieux is trying to get the Soviet player to put the tip of his stick in that white area. See how they go up in front of that white area? They're just not used to it. The tip of the stick is supposed to be in the white area on the dot itself.
Krutov now moves in against Lemieux. From the draw, the puck bounces in front. Lemieux hit the post. Back to the line to Samuelson. Off the boards, intended for Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck trying to keep it in. It bounces off the leg. And there's some pushing and shoving in front of the net. And I think a penalty may be coming up against Kasatonov of the Soviet Union.
Let yourself go. Now's the time. Feeling the heat. You're moving to the beat. Get moving to the high line. Never high line. Move it, so live it. It's your turn now. So take it. Get moving to the high line. Miller High Line.
Miller High Line. Cold and clear, clean and simple.
Behind the play, Kasatonov takes a high sticking penalty. He was right in front of his goaltender. And the National Hockey League have 2 power play goals in this hockey game. The puck was coming out of the Soviet zone, and Kasatonov uses the stick high. This is the play by Lemieux, a real good play off the faceoff, and he caught the goalpost. Beloshakin went at him. That was a heads-up play by Mario Lemieux.
Team NHL has 2 power play goals tonight. Let's see if they can get a third. Dumped in by Bork. Fetisov behind his own net, being watched by Gretzky, forces a turnover. Messier along the boards fighting for it, plays it back deep into the Soviet zone. Starikov off the board, and he finally succeeds in clearing. Bork back into his own zone for Team NHL to Doug Wilson. Lead pass for Gretzky. Rink wide for Messier. Messier back to the point for Bork to Messier. Messier to Bork. Bork dumps it in. Gretzky lets it go back to the net, but Starikov gets control and he clears it.
Starikov, a good job paired with Fetisov during that penalty killing unit. Kasatonov is the partner usually of Fetisov, so they're not that used to playing together.
Dumped in, and Gusarov hammers it around the boards, but not out. On the other side, Haimutov unable to get it out. Bikov is there. He can't clear. Team NHL keeping it in. Played back of the net for Gretzky. Gretzky out to Raymond Bork. He was on his backhand, couldn't get a shot away. Now it goes to Gretzky again up front, and it was just jammed wide by Glenn Anderson. Bork pinching in, controls the puck in the corner. Out front for Anderson, and it bounced off his stick. Gusarov plays it off the boards and down the ice with 20 seconds remaining in the penalty. Mario Lemieux leads the attack, driving it into the Soviet zone. Left there for Perbukin. Perbukin unable to clear. Played back to the net now for Gretzky. Gretzky gets the return pass for Goulet. Goulet is tied up, and the Soviet penalized player Nemchinov steps onto the ice, or make that Kazanotov, and the Soviets are back at full strength with 6:04 left.
And they will get fouled for icing here. Gretzky stayed on the ice the full 2 minutes on that power play. Whenever they got themselves into trouble, didn't know what to do with the puck, they fired it behind the net, and Gretzky was there. They did not get a real good scoring chance on Beloshakin. The Soviets constantly forced them, and that was a great opportunity to try and close the gap in this hockey game.
Howard-Chuck is out there now for Team NHL with Poulin and Dineen.
They've set up a play here where Dineen is on the point for a shot on this face-off. Green, the defenseman, has switched positions. He's gone to the face-off circle. The NHL are thinking offense.
Seamak gets the draw back into the corner. Perbukin around the boards. Langway pinching in, trying to keep it in. But the Soviets get control, and they clear the zone. Lavrov starting out. Lavrov fakes the shot. Now lets the shot go that slides to Grant Fuhr, and he hangs on for a face-off. Michel Bergeron, the coach of the Quebec Nordiques, one of 3 Team NHL coaches. John Perron is the head man for this series. Bob Johnson of the Calgary Flames, the other Team NHL coach. 5:45 is the time left in the game. 4-2, the Soviets lead. Game 1 Wednesday, won 4-3 by Team NHL. If the Soviets win this game, two teams will be declared joint champions of this two-game affair, and each side will receive a trophy.
It's been spectacular hockey, there's no question. The pace, the goaltending, the scoring plays, it's been fabulous to watch.
Howardchuk deflects it out to center ice. Bilyaletdinov shoots it back in. Now it's picked up by Tryakin. Tryakin was looking for Nemchinov, who was streaking for the net. The pass did not get through. Now the Soviets shoot it in again. Fuhr, back of his net, trying to play it around on the boards, and it almost bounces out front. In fact, it does come out front, and that went off the skate of Raymond Bourque. Ahead for Kevin Dineen, intercepted by Bilyaletdinov. He shoots it into Team NHL territory with 4:56 left in the game. Chelios is forced back into his own zone. He'll try and come out the other side now. Gets it ahead to Claude Lemieux. In across the line, takes a weak shot that is knocked down in front by the Soviets, and they clear the zone. Doug Wilson for Chelios. Shot blocked at the line. Chelios gets it again, flips it in. Beloshakin playing it into the corner. Claude Lemieux takes the shot from a bad angle. He almost caught Beloshakin out of position on that one, but the shot was blocked by a Soviet defenseman. Makarov feeds it to the line to Larionov. He couldn't go anywhere with it. The Soviets try and regroup back in their own zone. Fetisov up into the neutral area with 4:04 remaining. Larionov in across the line. He's spilled. The puck goes loose, and it's picked up by Chelios. 3:56 left in the third. 4-2, the Soviets leading Team NHL. Right out front, and Mario Lemieux couldn't get a good shot away.
The NHL club dumped the puck in there, and they got control of it, created a scoring chance. The Soviets are really stacking their own blue line. There you see four men again across the blue line. They broke up the play. The NHL have to dump it in here and be in unison. In other words, be skating when that puck is dumped in.
Kamensky, who has scored 2 goals, tried to go around Langley. He was knocked down. Samuelson for Messier. Messier cutting in from the right side. Takes the shot. Rebound! Beloshakin was down as Gretzky and Curry whacked at that puck and managed to get a piece of it. Kamensky comes in again. Kamensky's good fake. Right out front, they score! But Mayutov, trailing the play, banged in Kamensky's rebound.
How many times have you seen Kamensky go to the outside, beat the defenseman, and make a play? He does it again. He has been an outstanding player in this series. The youngster took the puck and went to the outside. Wilson took a chance. He tried to keep it in. It was a gallant try. Now watch Kamensky slow down, change gears. Now he goes to the outside, and he tries to make the play, and they get the loose puck in front, and they get themselves a 3-goal lead. He slows down. Now he turns it on. And remember, that's Messier back there, not a defenseman. Wilson was trapped as he tried to keep the puck in, and Kamensky went to the weak link, and it worked.
Kamensky, just 25 years of age. He played in the 1985 World Junior, or 20 years of age, I should say. He played in the 1985 World Junior Championships in Helsinki. He gets an assist on that goal. Michel Goulet centering it, knocked down by Tatarinov, and he dumps it out into the neutral zone. Whistle on the play as it was hit with a high stick. Rendezvous 87 returns in a moment.
Time trouble, long time.
Thank you.
No trouble.
Time trouble.
Tiny troubles. Taking care of them is no trouble to us.
No trouble. This is a good angle of Kamensky looking up and seeing what he's going to do with the puck, and you'll see him slow right down and just really change speed, go to the outside now in front of the net. Wilson does not pick up his man, and they pick up the rebound, and it is in.
Discussion at that Soviet bench, and is there going to be a penalty assessed here? Referee Dave Newell has skated over to the penalty box area. Hamayutov from Kamensky at 16:59. Kamensky with 2 goals and an assist. He's been an outstanding performer, not only in this game, but in Game 1 as well. There were some who thought that he should have been named the best player in Game 1.
He ran into a red-hot Grand Fuhrer in Game 1. They are now communicating with Aggie Kuklowitz, the interpreter, to discuss what the problem is. The penalty box gate is open at the Soviet side. Jean Perron checking things out as to what's going on over at the Soviet bench. I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth.
Well, the Soviets don't appear to be too sure either as to what has happened. As the two coaches, Viktor Tikhonov and Vladimir Yerzanov, discuss things, and now Fetisov, the Soviet captain, is having things explained to him by Aggie Kuklowitz.
What happened was the NHL wanted to take a look at a stick for a measurement of the blade to find out if it was legal or illegal. The Soviet player skated over to the bench and tried to make a quick change, a handoff, as you can call it, and the referee, Dave Newell, caught him, and that's an automatic penalty. It was a measurement that they were looking for, and immediately you saw Perron a couple of minutes ago point and say, hey, listen, they're trying to make a change. They went skating back over, and the penalty has been assessed now to the Soviet Union.
Priakin going to the penalty box. So misconduct against Priakin as well, and Lavrov goes to the penalty box to serve the misconduct.
It's a 2-minute penalty for the illegal stick, and it's a 10-minute misconduct for not allowing the officials to take the stick to check it out. So there's 2 players now in the penalty box. There, Aggie Kuklowitz is explaining it to the Soviet players, trying to perhaps use a calming influence on them. Of course, in the Soviet Union, you can use sticks that are illegal in measurement, but they are playing strictly under NHL rules, aside from the amount of players that you can dress per game here in this series. Perhaps we'll be able to catch here. Here they're trying to get back to make a quick change, quietly and privately, but the officials have caught them now. Look at Tikhonov saying, no, you can't have that stick. Newell says, I want it, and that's where the 10-minute misconduct also came part of the play.
Little tug of war at the bench. So Team NHL with a man advantage again. Back at the line. Wilson trying to keep it in, couldn't, and Makarov breaks out, working against Raymond Bourque. Makarov slowing things down, and he'll just skate around with that puck and force Team NHL to chase him as he kills off some seconds. He comes in again, tries to split the defense, is knocked down by Wilson. Loose puck in the Team NHL zone, and it's picked up by Gretzky. 2 minutes remaining in the game. Drop pass for Messier over to Gretzky. Gretzky attempted to center it, and the Soviets drive it down the ice. 1:13 remaining in the Soviet penalty. 5-2 the score. The Soviets in front. Messier across the line for Chelios. He fakes the shot to Goulet. Goulet tried to go up high on Beloshakin, and Beloshakin made the save.
That hole was there between the legs. Once again, as Beloshakin dropped down, Goulet decided to go high. The tempo for these Soviets has been constant in this hockey game.
Stolen by Stelnov at the blue line, and he shoots it back into Team NHL territory with 1:20 left in the game. Chelios flips it in. Katharinov back after it. He plays it around on the boards. Lemieux's pass is intercepted by Svetlov. Svetlov drops it back for Pervukin to Svetlov. Takes the shot. Grant makes the save as we move into the final minute. Gretzky crosses the line. Gretzky slides it across. Mario Lemieux took the shot. Beloshakin was down. Goulet tried to jam it, couldn't get it by him. kept in by Goulet. Gretzky out to Fork. He scores as Mario Lemieux set it up. Bello-Shaken had made a big save off of Mario Lemieux, but the NHL Hockey Club persisted. They worked the puck along the back wall, and look at Bork. Again, a defenseman gets into the play, and he flutters a shot past the goaltender. The NHL Club has controlled the backboard, the area behind Bello-Shaken. He moves out, and that shot went through him, and the Team NHL scored quickly. I don't believe that'll be a power play goal, as the penalty had just expired. So that's the first even strength goal for Team NHL. Their other two on the power play. 27 seconds left. Larionov to Krutov, over to Makarov. He tried to slide it in front to Krutov, and it was knocked down by Grant Fuhr. Back comes Team NHL. Kirk Muller takes a hit from Fetisov. Fetisov sends Krutov in. Krutov plays it around the boards for Makarov. It's intercepted by Team NHL, and Muller starts back. Muller at the line, loses it. Poulin trying to pick it up as it goes to the corner, and the siren sound with the Soviets defeating Team NHL by a score of 5-3. It was 4-3 in Game 1, Team NHL winning. An excellent series, a great display of hockey by two fine hockey units. There's no question in my mind the NHL team deserved to win Game 1, and this team deserved to win Game 2. And a standing ovation here from the people, and they call us say, Donna was just super, super hockey. Well, everyone in attendance at the Colisee thoroughly enjoyed the two-game set-to between Team NHL and the Soviet national team. And it was hockey at its best, with Bello-Shaken doing an outstanding job in backstopping the Soviets to the 5-3 win in this second game. So the players are now lined up at their respective blue lines. The final score of tonight's game, the Soviet Union 5, Team NHL 3.
So we invite GM and Ford to follow Chrysler. You know, for 5 years, I've been feeling like the guy who sent invitations to a party, and nobody came. Well, somebody finally showed up. GM and Ford decided the time has come to improve their warranties. Chrysler says, welcome to the party. It's good for North America. Over the last 5 years, we've backed 5 million Chrysler car and truck owners with 580 protection. Our quality had to improve, and dramatically. So the party's over. Chrysler announces the end of 580 and the beginning of 7115, the best powertrain protection in the business, then and now. 7 years or 115,000 kilometers on engine and powertrain, 7 years or 160,000 kilometers against outer body rust through on every Chrysler, Dodge, and Plymouth we build, car, truck, and minivan. Like I said, if you're looking for who builds them best, take a good look at who backs them best.
Two trophies have been prepared, and both will be presented. The Rendezvous 87 Cup, sponsored by Carling O'Keefe Breweries, created by Sylvain Daou and Gaetan Boulet. And one trophy will be presented to each team. And it's interesting that Team NHL won, with Nikolai Morozov of the Soviet Union officiating, and the Soviets won with Dave Newell of the NHL in charge.
It was just a fine display of hockey. I was very, very thrilled in watching both games. Fabulous plays offensively, fabulous plays defensively, and I think we saw a Soviet Union that revved it up for 60 minutes in Game 2. Bello-Shaken was much better in Game 2 than he was in Game 1 as far as goaltending went. I think the key players played well in the second game for the Soviet Union. Fetisov, the goaltender, the Makarov line.
And Kamensky played extremely well with 2 goals and an assist. And we are now ready for the presentation ceremony.
Official committee of the Professional Hockey Writers Association has selected the 2 best players of tonight's game. Each player will receive a serigraphy of the famous Québécois painter Jean-Paul Lemieux from the album Canada, Canada. To present the serigraphy to the winners, let's acclaim 2 of the greatest hockey players ever. Il s'agit du joueur de centre, membre du centre de la renommée Sam Nikita et du premier capitaine de l'histoire des Nordiques de Québec, Jean-Claude Tremblay. Le meilleur joueur du match pour l'Union soviétique, the best players for the Soviet Union. Le numéro 13, number 13, Valérie Kamensky. Le meilleur joueur du match pour l'équipe de la Ligue nationale, the best NHL players. Le numéro 99, number 99, Wayne Gretzky. Les Pétroles Esso, l'un des commanditaires majeurs de Rendez-vous 87, a choisi d'honorer le meilleur gardien de la série à la suite d'un vote des journalistes. Esso Petroleum, one of the major sponsors of Rendez-vous 87, will now honor the best goalkeeper of 2-game series as selected by the committee of the PHWA. Pour remettre aux gagnants une sculpture en bronze de l'artiste québécois Marc Martel, accueillons le président des Pétroles Esso, M. Gord Thompson. To make the presentation of a bronze carving from Quebec artist Marc Martel to the best goalie, let's rate the president of the Esso Petroleum, Mr. Gordon Thompson. Le meilleur gardien but, the best goalkeeper, le numéro 20, number 20, Eugénie Belon-Chikin.
Difficult choice to make as both Grant Fuhr and Bello Shakin played brilliantly in the 2 games.
Grant Fuhr may have lost the coin flip. That's how close that must have been. Bello Shakin was very good in the 3rd period here in this
Un
game.
comité spécial formé des journalistes représentant chacune des divisions de la Ligue nationale a été chargé de déterminer par scrutin les meilleurs joueurs de la série au sein de l'équipe soviétique et de l'équipe de la Ligue nationale. A special committee of the Professional Hockey Writers Association, representing the 4th division of the NHL, has been appointed to select the best players of the series for both teams. Le meilleur joueur soviétique recevra des mains du président de la compagnie Panasonic un magnifique système de son de grande qualité. Pour en faire la présentation, accueillons M. Gino Raimondo. The president of Panasonic will now present the best Soviet player with a complete stereo component. Le meilleur joueur soviétique de la série, the best Soviet player is le numéro 13, number 13, Valérie Kamensky. Et maintenant, le président de Chrysler Canada est invité à faire la présentation au meilleur joueur de la série pour la Ligue nationale d'une magnifique voiture Le Baron coupé 1987. The president of Chrysler Canada will now present the keys of the new Chrysler Le Baron coupé 1987 to the best player of the National Hockey League for the 2-game series. Accueillons, please welcome, Mr. Mo Close. meilleurs joueurs de la Ligue nationale de Best NHL Players, le numéro 99, 99, Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky and Kamensky of the Soviet Union being named the outstanding players of this two-game affair. And again, on the part of Team NHL, I would think that was a difficult choice.
Well, he's going to have to add another garage onto his house. I think as far as cars go, it's got to be in double figures for him.
To both teams participating in the series, Her Excellency, the Governor General of Canada, the Right Honorable Jean Sauvé. Madame Sauvé remettra maintenant la coupe Rendez-vous au capitaine des deux équipes. D'abord pour le club de l'Union soviétique, le capitaine Vyacheslav Fetisov. Maintenant, Madame Sauvé remettra la coupe Rendez-vous au capitaine de l'équipe de la Ligue nationale. Mr. Sauvé will now present the Rendez-vous Cup to the captain of the team NHL, Wayne Gretzky. La direction de Rendez-vous 87 vous remercie d'avoir assisté aux deux matchs de cette série. Vous allez maintenant au spectacle de fermeture des festivités qui auront lieu dimanche soir à compter de 20h face au manège militaire. Rendez-vous 87 vous dit merci.
Studios here at the Coliseum in Quebec City. Montreal head coach Jean Perron. I know you're disappointed about losing this game 5-3, but still you're to be congratulated. A tremendous effort over these two games.
Yes, I got to give credit to the players and the coaching staff and the managers who put the team together, and for the players showing up and give everything they had. We played very well in the first game, very well tonight, but in the second period, we allowed 3 scoring chances. They scored 3 goals, and probably we played our best period of the tournament. So, those things happen.
Sean, what was the biggest problem you faced here this week? You came in here like the rest of us Sunday night, Monday morning. Was it mental preparation? Was it strategy? What was your toughest obstacle?
Yeah, we had to do a lot of things in a short period of time. The players were eager to play, and they were honored to be here, and our tasks as coaches were not too tough. I would say we got good cooperation from the players. They wanted to execute well. We didn't get caught like we told them so many times. The players played the basic kind of hockey games, and I think we did very well in the circumstances.
I think you did very well indeed. I know a lot of NHL players looking in tonight across Canada. What would you say to them if they're ever invited to come and play in a series like this?
I would say that it's a tremendous experience, playing against one of the best clubs in the world. Not too many people give us a chance to win a hockey game, I think. In the middle of the season with 24, 25 guys who didn't play together as a team before. So if everybody is interested to come I'm sure they're going to cherish that experience for the rest of their lives.
They will indeed, Jean Perron. Congratulations. I see some of the players starting to come in. I know you want to get back to the dressing room. Good luck tomorrow night against the Winnipeg Jets.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Jean. Also, congratulations to Bob Johnson and Michel Bergeron, the assistant coaches. Lots more to come. Stay with us, folks. Rendezvous 87 will continue after these messages. Hi, Dougie.
Winter. A great time to get away. Enjoy all that Ontario has to offer. Go to the theater or take in a concert. Go shopping or treat yourself to a fine meal. Or just get out and have fun in the snow. Ontario.
Roses from Niagara, lilies from Peru, carnations from Holland. Buy the freshest flowers from the gardens of the world simply by dialing 5 Flower. Order the classic 12 long-stemmed roses delicately arranged with baby's breath in a glass vase. The price, $29.50 for 12 long-stemmed roses. Satisfaction guaranteed. The value is incredible. The phone number, 5FLOWER. When you're thinking of a florist, dial 5 Flower.
I just had my first ski lesson.
Oh.
Shouldn't you be resting or something?
Well, yes, Chance. What are you doing out of bed?
Well, I had to come for my Lotterio ticket. You never know when your numbers will come up.
That's true.
Besides, you can't keep a good man down.
Welcome back to the Colisée in Quebec City. The Soviet Union defeating the National Hockey League tonight 5-3 after the NHL won 4-3 on Wednesday. Chicago defenseman Doug Wilson joins me. You people might remember, Doug, from 1984 when you got the goal that forced the game into overtime. You beat the Soviets in overtime. How does this compare?
Well, I don't think it's as big a highlight as because this was an exhibition series. The other was a tournament. But it's always a great thrill when you're playing against guys at this level and be able to score a goal or contribute in any way.
Doug, we talked, I think it was Monday here. You made an interesting statement. You said, I'm tired of all the excuses. We have no excuses this time. We're simply going to do our best.
That's true. You know, they had injuries in '84. They didn't use that as a crutch. We had 22 players here. We went out, we worked hard, and I think the fans were entertained, and people across Canada and the United States saw some good hockey from great players from both sides of the ocean.
What did they do differently tonight?
They came at us. They were a little more aggressive. I think the first game they were tentative, but... you know, they're great athletes. You've got to give them a lot of respect. When they move the puck around and you let them play how they want, you see the result.
It's worth it, you figured, to have been here this week?
Oh, it sure is. It's a great experience. You know, all the guys in the dressing room is, you know, you make friendships. It's, you respect the Russian athletes for what they are, great athletes. And I've had a lot of fun all week. I know my wife has. Spent a few dollars and supported the Quebec economy.
Yeah, Wilson's going back broke tonight. How are you getting home, or how are you getting to your next game?
Well, we don't play till Sunday. We've got a charter out, and we'll probably arrive in Chicago about 3 in the morning, so it's not too bad.
Tell me about the coaching staff. They stuck to basics. We just heard from Jean Perron, but I can't say enough about the job he, Johnston, and Bergeron did.
They had a very tough job, just in selecting the team. You know, it was like a puzzle. You got to pick all the proper components, and I think they did a good job. You know, we missed a few players, but like I say, we worked hard, and we had enough guys in the room with the talent to win this series, and we gave it our best.
What was the mood in the dressing room after the second period? You were leading 1-0 after the first. You were trailing after the second.
The guys were really pumped up. You know, it's we didn't want to just say, well, we've got half loaf. We won the first game. Let's relax. We came out pumped up. We wanted to do something, and the problem is if you get down a couple goals to the Russian and you press them, you know, that's the wide open game they like to play, and they put the puck in net a couple of times.
You guys feel pretty good. There was a lot of talk that Mark Howe and Paul Coffey weren't here. I know Paul's probably looking in tonight with the Oilers out in Edmonton. But you guys rose up in spite of their absence, and we talked about the reemergence of defensive hockey.
Well, I think so. You know, Rick Green and Rod Langley played outstanding hockey. Elf Samuelson, who a lot of people haven't seen much of, really proved that he can play. Chris Shelley, all the guys. It's a treat for them. It can only help us in future series for guys like that to get experience.
One memory from this series, if you take it home with you, what is it?
I think winning the first game. It really was a great feeling because, we'd come from different places. We go out there, and when you work hard for 6 to keep it simple, and you can pull something out. It was great.
All right, you put on a good show. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Doug Wilson of the Chicago Blackhawks, who had the second goal for the National Hockey League tonight. They lose by a score of 5-3. Stay with us. Lots more to come. We'll come back to Quebec City right after this.
What's it like to play the Nintendo Entertainment System? Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
Catch the Olympic spirit. Catch it now by ordering your tickets for the 15th Olympic Winter Games in Calgary. Thrill to the speed of the luge, the breathtaking turns of bobsleigh, the sheer determination of cross-country, the challenge of international hockey, and the daring of downhill racing. The only way to really experience it is to be there.
I'm Johnny Esau, and I urge you to pick up your updated Olympic ticket order form now at the Royal Bank while there's still lots of good events available.
Mario Lemieux was in here the other night. He sat down, and before the cameras came on, he said, God, is it fast out there. You just walked in Wayne Gretzky, the most valuable player in this series for the National Hockey League. You had much the same feeling. Have you ever been involved in a game like this?
No, I've never seen hockey like this. I think it was great hockey, and I think we should be proud of the NHL and the style that we played and how we held our heads high and how we won the first game and how we kept coming back tonight and how we worked hard. I think we played really, really good, and as you said, I guess the time that I can relate to is when Bobby Clark played in '72, how hard he worked on that series, and it was hard work. It was a lot of effort tonight.
Watching from here in the studio, I had to run out in the third period to make sure you could keep going. You were out for an entire power play. Were you that tired? Were you getting tired at the end of the game?
I was getting tired. We're all human. We get tired. I think that my endurance level is pretty high, and I can go a little bit longer sometimes than other guys, and then sit down and have a shorter rest and feel strong again. And you get to that point, you want to win, and we just going every 40, 50 seconds, every third shift, he was just throwing us back out there. And, I'm, again, as I said, I'm proud that I played in this, and I think that all the people in North America and Finland and Sweden included should be proud of the effort we gave tonight. I think it was a great series, and we won the first one, and the worst we could do is come out with a tie.
I wouldn't want to be the selector that picked Belashekin over Fuhrer. Probably, as Don Whitman said, they flipped a coin. Belashekin, though, was a lot better tonight than he was in that opening game.
He played well, and as you said, it was 1-0, and he stopped me twice in close. We could have been up 2 or 3-0, and we missed a lot of chances. He played well, but believe me, Grant Fuhrer's a great goaltender, and I think he proved that in Game 1. And they scored 3 goals tonight where the defenseman makes a play and it bounces back on their stick and it pucks in the net. But that happens in hockey, and as I said earlier tonight, it's time we respected them as hockey players, that they're going to win some series and we're going to win some series, and nobody's ever going to dominate. We're never going to beat them 20 times in a row, and they're never going to beat us 20 times in a row. They got great players. They're a great team, and we got some great players, too.
Listen, your teammates are looking on tonight out in Edmonton. Anything you want to say to them?
Well, I know they had a great week off, and it'd be nice to get back and practice with those guys tomorrow, and hopefully we can get back in the grind and win some hockey games, and hopefully win a Stanley Cup for Edmonton.
You got to catch a charter to go into Toronto, get a couple hours sleep, fly to Edmonton. Would you do this again next year if they came back to you and said, look, we've managed to line this up again, we're going to do it again?
Oh, sure. I don't have any objections to playing. They pick my number and they call me. I'm happy to go play in these kind of series. It's, as I said, you always like the week off, but once you get here, boy, the enthusiasm and the excitement is great. And, I play with a guy who I think is the best defenseman in the league, and he's pretty sorry he's not here. And believe me, with a guy like that, he's got great heart and great desire, and he wishes he was here, and it would have been nice.
Same question I asked Doug Wilson. One memory from this series, what would it be?
Well, I think the very first goal, the very first time that Yeri scored in the first game, when that puck went in the net, I remember feeling a lot of pressure come off my shoulders, and at that point I remember saying, we're going to win the first game, we're going to win this one, and that's what happened.
All right, congratulations. Have a safe flight out to Edmonton. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, and I'd just like to say hello to my grandmother, who I know is watching tonight, so hello.
All right. Hello to your grandmother. Congratulations to Wayne Gretzky, the most valuable player for the National Hockey League in this series. Stay with us. Lots more to come, folks. Rendezvous 87 will continue right after this.
John, Sammy, the Jag won't be in till Monday, sorry.
John, Dave, looks like your boat needs a brand new keel.
John, Derek here. Sorry, but I can't make our squash game. Later.
There's one indulgence that never lets you down. Score. Rich milk chocolate with a crisp toffee center.
John, darling, it's Angela. Dinner's off. Derek invited me to play squash.
Score. Indulgence you can trust.
Over the years, General Electric has been turning ironing into less of a chore with innovations to meet the changing needs of each generation. Today, the General Electric heritage is carried on by Black & Decker with advanced models featuring automatic shutoff to make ironing safer, easier, and more convenient. Worry-free ironing backed by a 2-year warranty. Black & Decker. Remember the name, and you can forget about the iron. Thanks to our automatic shutoff. Another powerhouse innovation from Black & Decker.
As we come back live to the Colisée here in Quebec City, you see the final score, the Soviet Union defeating the National Hockey League by a score of 5-3. As I said, I believe it was in the second intermission, we talk about the selfish athletes of the 1980s. These players from the National Hockey League have sacrificed a lot. They don't receive a lot of money for playing here, something like $1,000. Most of them are now getting ready to go to the airport, fly charters, and play tomorrow night. Speaking of hockey tomorrow night, just a reminder, Hockey Night in Canada back on the air here in CBC. You will see one of two games, either the Winnipeg Jets taking on Jean Perron and his Montreal Canadiens from the Forum, or the Boston Bruins against the Maple Leafs in Toronto. And I know when those players, Bork steps on the ice in Toronto, and the players step on the ice in Montreal tomorrow night, they will receive very, very special ovations. Right now, as we continue with our post-game show from Quebec City, let's go back upstairs. Once again, here are Don Whitman and John Davidson.
And Brian, we saw Wayne Gretzky down in the dressing room without his Team NHL jersey. One of the reasons, as the teams lined up at center ice, he and the Soviet captain, Fetisov, swapped jerseys, hugged each other, and then Gretzky went over and shook hands with the Soviet coach Tikhonov.
It was captain with captain, showing a lot of respect for each other's hockey club, I think, more than anything else. And Wayne Gretzky's been an ambassador all throughout his career, even as a youngster, and it's certainly good to see. I think that's just a magic moment at the end of some rather special hockey that we saw amongst these two hockey clubs, Don. And Kamensky winning that award. Remember, Davidoff was the player that led the team off the bench in that junior brawl. He was suspended. Kamensky took his spot, ended up being the MVP. Gretzky, 4 assists in the 2 games. Excellent hockey.
Well, there wasn't much question about Kamensky being chosen as the Soviets' outstanding performer. He played very well in Game 1. Gretzky plays well every time he goes out. It's amazing how he seems to crank it up and come to play every single night.
Competitive spirit, he seems to have that. He talked about his endurance level. Yes, he was out for 2 minutes during those power play shifts in the third period, trying to get it going for his hockey club, trying to score. But the competitive spirit of Wayne Gretzky really showed in the latter half of that hockey game when the NHL club was trailing. And you could see him, give me the puck. I want the puck. I want to try and set up the plays. That's the type of person that you need, and as I say, a great ambassador for the game.
John Davidson, we've enjoyed having you here, lending your expertise to our 2 telecasts. Now let's go back to Brian Williams.
Next to me is one of the coolest fellas I've ever known. He's got ice water in his veins, Grant Fuhrer of the Edmonton Oilers. As John Davidson was signing off, he leaned over and said, J.D., working hard for a change. Congratulations. I know you're disappointed at losing tonight, but you played some spectacular goals.
I think the series as a whole was good hockey. I mean, the first night we went out and we sort of outplayed them. Tonight they outplayed us, and that's the difference.
You were confident before the first game. Is that part of your psych job, or did you really mean it? I remember asking you, I think it was Monday night at Laval University, and you said, we're going to win Wednesday. There is absolutely no doubt about it.
If you figure you might have a chance to lose, and then chances are you can lose. I mean, being confident helps. It's just a matter of if the guys get confidence, then you get a better chance.
Grant, what is different when you face these fellas from facing the National Hockey League?
I think they try and set up screens. I mean, they get the guy, defenseman coming across. If he comes across, then they try and shoot it in between his legs.
Is the first 10 minutes the crucial part for you against the Soviets? Do you like to get through the first shot and goal?
It's not so much that. You got to pay attention with them all night. I mean, they just keep coming and coming and coming, and they just don't stop coming.
You play behind a great defenseman who's watching tonight, Paul Coffey out in Edmonton. He wasn't here along with Mark Howe, but the defense, tell us a little about their style of play and how they played in front of you.
I thought they played great in front of me. I mean, they're a defensive bunch, and they played great. They made the guys shoot from bad angles. Tonight they got a few too many shots in the slot, but that wasn't our guys' fault. It's just something that happens in hockey.
Have you talked to Belashakin at all? Do you exchange glances or anything after the game?
You exchange glances. There's not a whole lot you can say. Speak two different languages, but he played very well.
He did indeed. Congratulations. You played well, too. I think Don Whitman said you probably have to flip a coin. Let me ask you something. Would you come back again next year if they do it again?
Sure. I mean, it's fun.
All right. Grant Fuhrer, it is fun indeed. Our congratulations from the Edmonton Oilers. That about wraps it up. And once again, the National Hockey League winning on Wednesday by a score of 4-3. Tonight, the Soviets winning 5-3. We should do this again in the near future. An outstanding two-game series here in Quebec City. Don't forget Hockey Night in Canada tomorrow night. I'll be on the air tomorrow afternoon from Toronto at 2 Eastern with Sports Weekend. Once again, the final score, the Soviets 5, the National Hockey League 3. For Big John Davidson and Don Whitman, I'm Brian Williams. Good night, everybody, from Quebec City. Rendezvous 87. Brought to you by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of Miller Lite. Chrysler Canada, who bring you the all-new Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. By Esso, stop in and fill up with the no-trouble gasoline. By your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Catch the wave, Coke. Rendezvous 87 has been produced by Cease Brown. Our directors, Malcolm Charlton and Jacques Primo. Our ice director has been Julianne Dion. Michelle Guida is the production coordinator, and we look at the names of the people, both technical and production, that made it all possible. And from all of us, a very special thank you to Francois Carignan and his group here at Rendezvous 87. He is the director of broadcasting for putting on just a first-rate telecast both Wednesday and tonight. Again, a Hockey Night in Canada tomorrow night, either Winnipeg at Montreal or Boston at Toronto. Most areas of the country, stay with us. The National and the Journal next. Once again, good night, everybody, from Quebec City.
What did he do to you?
He once held the power of life and death over her. Carrie's going to make sure it doesn't happen twice. Street Legal, best on the box, Tuesday night. This is CBC Television.
Hi, Elway Yost here. Unlike movies, some things never change.